All right, let's get into the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Are we unmuted now? All right, good. Why don't we go around the room? It is a public meeting. I don't know how many people in the public. Why don't we just introduce ourselves, just name, and we'll start with you, Ed, and go across.
Ed Du Bois, 205 Woodlawn Circle.
Peter Simonelli.
Chris Rowland.
Vin Falacara.
Jan Martin.
Scott Swain. Don McElroy.
Okay, thanks. All right, so I guess I'll open up the discussion. Peter Moran was supposed to be here, and Meg LeMay was supposed to be here. Meg had an emergency at home, so she will not be here, and I'm not sure if Peter's coming. My last email from him was he was coming. If not, we're going to just go and attack the areas we can attack. What I have not gotten an answer to yet, I don't know how good everyone's notes were from town meeting. Mine were not good enough, but I've asked the town clerk and the town moderator. Thank you. I've asked the town clerk and the town moderator what articles are still to be decided, because I don't know that. And if someone does know that, that would be good to bring up. Does anyone trust their notes well enough to know which ones we have not discussed?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain between Chris and I, we have that, I gotta pull it up.
Yeah. So,
Okay, hold on.
okay.
Anything from the special town meeting, Chris?
The only thing I have from special, well, no, it was just postponed, is the collective bargaining agreement with the Association of Marshfield Police, but that's not being brought forward in the June meeting. So I think the only things I have are Articles 3 through 7.
3 through 7.
Which are all the fiscal year operating budgets, the capital budget, and the enterprise accounts. And I believe everything else was voted. There were things postponed but not rescheduled for June. But those ones were tabled until June. Or continued, I should say. Continued in June.
Well, here's the other way.
Article 6.
The other way we can do it too, the notes we had relative to our responses, we can kind of go backwards, right?
But I'm looking at my.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to confirm that, but I think that's what I have.
We responded 1, 4, 5, and 6 on STM.
I'm sorry?
1, 4, 5, Articles 1, 4, 5, and 6 from special town meeting were addressed. So where that leaves us, I can pull it in a second.
Well, 4 is recessed. Capital budget's been
Correct.
recessed.
Apologize.
Yeah,
4
yeah.
was recessed.
So 3, 4, 6 was recessed as well. 7.
6 was not recessed at STM. 6 was select board from 3 to 5.
No, I have in special or regular? The regular.
I'm in
Special, I
special.
think we're still in.
I'm talking about regular, sorry. You're talking about regular, you're talking about,
I was talking about special, sorry.
oh, sorry.
Regular.
All right, so let's stick with special town meeting first. Were there any articles that anyone remembers from special that are supposed to be discussed at this upcoming town meeting?
No,
Okay.
not that I can see.
Nerese Casper, the town clerk's initial cut, she promised to get back to me, she has not yet, was, her initial cut was Articles 2 through 6, definitely, and that, she wanted to go back and check, so I need to follow up with her, but that's on the town meeting agenda, 2 through 6.
Right, but I would say if it's 2 through 6, 7 would have to be as well, because it's also another enterprise fund.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. That's what I have, actually. I have them,
Labeled.
Labeled.
Yeah, that's the solid waste enterprise.
yeah,
fund.
recessed as well. But
Okay.
that's the only ones I have that are still
All right.
outstanding.
Well, let's work to that for now.
Okay.
All right, what I'd like to do before we get into any other details is, let's go, look at 2 through 7, and I just want to make sure I know, because I don't right now, who is going to write up the discussion for town meeting, whatever that's going to be, but who's going to take responsibility for each article. Does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, so Article 2, compensation for elected officials. I believe, Chris, that would have been you typically, with
Yeah, I didn't think that one was was recessed, but let me look. It is, you're right, no, right, it is, I have it. Yeah, that would be me, probably, because I have select board.
okay, all right, so I'm
So I'll
gonna,
make sure, if I keep my warrant.
So
Article 2 is Chris. All right, Article 3 is the budget. What did we typically do for this last year? How did that,
Well, typically the budget, this is a unique situation, because typically the budget is just one article in the annual town meeting, and it is brought forward by the advisory, by the select board and the town administrator with help from the the finance team. And ultimately, it just has, the only thing we're responsible for typically is our recommendation. So I would assume, I hate to use the word assume because I hate to assume anything, but my understanding would be that the select board would be bringing, and I believe Rick, Chairman Smith has said that he would like to have it laid out, showing each of the options and do a budget presentation through the select board that we would have already seen by then, so that we would already have made our recommendation. But it's not, from what I know about our role in the charter, it's not our responsibility to present the budget, it's not our budget, it's their budget. So, that's, from my experience, that's what I've seen. But it's unique because typically we don't have 3 different options, it's one budget, and this is what's being presented, the budget's been presented. Do we recommend that budget or not, or is there any, motions, anything outstanding that we would say, we agree with this, but as the presented budget, or not? We would already ask questions about it.
I guess that opens up, in my mind, that opens up a question as to how do we come to any sort of consensus as a board on whether it's a no override budget we recommend, whether it's a full override budget we recommend, or whether it's something in between. How do we get there?
I think we have to do it by department and say, okay, each department, A, B, or C, and then next department, A, B, or C, and then we add up all the A's and then we add up all the B's. If there's an override, maybe it's a $500,000 override, and if there's no C's, then we just look at the B's, and add up only what we recommend, but,
I like that. Hold on to that thought. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I'm just wondering if we shouldn't just recommend the minimum budget, but give the implications of that vote, if you've got the 4 million, and let them know that these are the cuts that are gonna be made. If we'll approve that, and then leave it up to the town, how they want to vote. They can vote for the 4 million or the 7 million, but I think we should emphasize the cuts to services and the implications that it's going to have on the town that's just my, and vote for that, and then let them, that's one thought, you know.
I like that, too.
I think there's maybe a way to meld them. It seems to me that the thing that would be most helpful for us to do is to say, basically what Ed said, you know, we think this, and this, you know, like he said, we recommend this one for this one and that one for that one, because we thought that in Department X, the cuts were just so drastic in Budget A that we didn't think it was worth it. Whereas the cuts in, you know, Budget Department Y, while it would be really nice not to have to make them, if, you know, if the townspeople want to, or, you know, we would be comfortable with them or recommend them.
At the risk of overcomplicating this, I want to point out two things. I think both Ed and Donnie are right, and I think you're trying to come to a middle ground. I'm just teeing off of that. Realistically, in our scope, we're allowed to pick A, B, or C. We have to defend our answer. In that defense and in the meetings leading up to it is a variety of information that it's incumbent on us to share with the townspeople, right? Why we came to that decision. The notion that A, B, or C are not the only options and we're going to do B 2.0 where is cumbersome and kind of outside of the scope of what we're allowed to do. Now, in our defense, let's say we went with B. I'm making things up. We could say it's the closest to what we think, and here's why we choose that versus this, right? There's some things we don't think we need to spend on, there's some we do, but I think we should stop short of totaling everything up and saying, well, we recommend this amount of override. I think that's muddying the waters a bit, and now we're stepping on the toes of the voters that can vote it down, up or down, the amount. Oh,
There he is. He'd probably help us answer this question.
Yeah, we should probably.
no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
Let's,
that's
take your
tomorrow.
steps in, sir.
What happened?
He went to the library.
Got my steps in.
let's just finish up this discussion first.
Yeah, fine,
Welcome,
sorry.
Peter, we're happy to have you, buddy.
Yeah.
Scott, any differing thoughts?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Donnie on the sense that, you know, if we just go the baseline and defend it, I mean, we have all departments that are coming towards us saying, we need this, we need that, but we're also forgetting about the taxpayer too. There's a bunch of people out there that might not be able to afford all the override cuts. So we've been speaking with departments, but not necessarily the taxpayer, and so we should kind of let them decide what they want. So I know the schools want this, the police, the fire, but there might be people out there that don't necessarily want that override out there and maybe can live with the services.
Well, they're all going to be on the ballot.
Yes.
If they make it to the ballot anyway, so they will have that chance.
Can I just ask a clarifying
Yeah.
question? Is the consensus from Don and Scott, at least that side of the table, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, that you would like to see the board recommend the A budget, no override, but explain the implications therein, and then the town can decide what to do?
Then it's their choice. We're gonna show you the implications of service cuts.
Certainly a clean explanation, hey, here's what it is, and here's what it isn't.
So I believe that's what the presentation that the select board is asking the town administrator to come up with will do. But it has to be based off of the no override budget, because that's the only money we have. We could only start with the revenues we have. We can't assume that the voters are going to vote more money, is what my preference is.
Yeah.
But I kind of like what my own preference is. Let's, as much as we can do in the next couple of weeks, let's get the departments to tell us, you know, for my budget, and we're going to hear from the Veterans Council, they're going to present to us, and they're going to say that these cuts are severe, and we want X, Y, and Z reinstated, and this is what it's going to cost. All right, well, we'll put that to the side, and we'll count that up with everyone else's list of things that they would like, and to the best of our ability, we sum them all up, and at the end of the day, maybe the number, I don't know what the number will be. Maybe it's 6 million, maybe it's 2 million, maybe it's 1 million, I don't know. But at least then we'd have some, starting from the base, no override budget, we'd have some reason to recommend something more. And I don't think we're tied necessarily to the 3 that are in the warrant. I believe that that can be amended on the floor of town meeting.
I think we are tied to the 3.
We are.
The townspeople
What,
are not.
what is it that tells you that? Like,
Because
actually, maybe,
Our job is to advise on what is put in front of us, and we've been given 3 options to advise on.
Yeah, so maybe the answer is after we do our investigation in math, we look at which one of those is the closest.
Yeah, I'm not, and let me just be clear, I'm not suggesting we don't deeply unpack and discuss ad nauseum in our public forums, but at the end of the day, we say one of 3 things, and we can justify it any way we want. It could be a 17-paragraph diatribe.
What happens if we just say, we go through all our math and just say, we only need 100,000 extra? Do we recommend 0 and then add it 100? Or do we say, we go with B and say, we don't need 4 million, we need 100,000? I'm
Yeah, the numbers
making
are
an
just-
extreme
just
example,
made
but,
up, right.
you know,
Either one.
either way works, right? So if we want to stick with the idea that, stick with budget A and only do the adders, if we feel strongly about it, then just make that recommendation.
All right, so we don't have to make the decision right here now.
Right.
I like the fact that we talked about it, that was important.
I was
Peter,
just
do you have
wondering-
anything to
yeah.
add that you could maybe
help us
add
with-
to our thought process? We're going to be meeting many times over the next couple of weeks.
I'm here to answer questions to the extent that I can, but a couple of things. One, I'm in the midst of, Select Board Chair Smith provided me with the template that he wants to show, that will basically show this is a department without an override, you know, what the impact is, what the $4 million override, and then the 5.6 million or 7 million override can do. So, and I can explain where the 5.6 came from versus the 7, if that's helpful, to the best of my ability. And what other costs aren't met by any of the 2 overrides, just what's included in them and what isn't. So I can do that if you want. Where do you want me to start?
So I think we were wondering if you had advice on whether an advisory board can do something other than just recommend or not recommend A, B, or C? Like, could we maybe come up with something in between?
So you're reviewing, your job is to provide advice on what's presented to you. I think that's a correct articulation. I think if you take a broader definition of advice and you say, we would be supportive of amendments in these areas, and ask, the moving, if the select board would accept, those reductions or increases or whatever you have in mind in those particular areas. I think that's within your purview, quite frankly. I think, you're there to provide the best advice that you can, and if you think that, you lend value by saying, our opinion is this is excessive in this area and could be reduced, I think that's fair. I think it would be easier done on the town side of things than on the schools, because, and I don't want to speak for the schools, but speaking from the town side, if you were looking at, where, we're not reducing enough in a certain area and wanted to make that, suggestion, I think that's fair. Adding
significant amounts to the budget could be problematic, and I'd need town council's opinion to see whether, it's within the scope of the article. If you go too excessive in it adding to an article, it may not be within the scope, and that kind of an amendment may be too broad. But if you're, so like if you're doing 20 million or something
no,
like that, that
I
would be a
think we're-
problem. 10 million would be a problem, but if you're doing 1 million, I think, I think you'd be all right. $1 million, a couple million.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So,
What if I said no? I wonder what would happen.
We'd cry.
that's true.
It would be
I'm trying to
easier
be
for you.
respectful, so.
We could get the
And
sergeant
I'm
at
sorry,
arms to,
it's been a day.
Dude, I get it, all right, and I appreciate you. I know what your life is, Mr. Moran. So I appreciate you even being here. And
No, I'm happy to
apologize.
be here. I have a great deal of respect for your work and what you're doing, and that you're hanging in there in these times.
So I don't want to challenge that too much, but the
No,
only
that's
thing
fine.
I'm going to say is, it's really not our responsibility to make recommendations to people to cut budgets or to change the way they're going to operate. We're not supposed to micromanage anybody.
No, and I don't, yeah, and I wouldn't say that you are, but these are interesting times, and if you felt compelled to do that, to
Okay.
provide your best advice, I don't want to inhibit that.
I mean, frankly, it's not the select board's responsibility to micromanage or even get into the weeds of any department in our town. Am I correct?
Well, you got a charter that gives them latitude that isn't in more modern charters, and a limited, there is, in combination with the personnel bylaw, there's powers of the town administrator, but they are not as pronounced as in other communities.
Right.
So,
I'm just trying to make sure everyone knows that
Have
it's
to
not
be
our
very careful.
responsibility to tell a department head who's running a multi-million-dollar department, this is what I recommend you do within your department. We hired you as the department head. You should be running this department. If you're not the person, then we would have a different conversation, correct?
yeah, I think that, generally you want to provide respect to the department head, but if in, your experience that you're bringing to this position, you think that there are areas that could be adjusted, I think it's within your purview to
a very
make
good
those
point.
recommendations.
a very good
If
point.
you think that a request of a budget does not reflect the priorities of the town, I think that you have that within your purview as well.
I agree.
Okay.
So.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let me bring this back. We started off the conversation, who's going to talk to Article 3? I think I should take it. It's, sounds like a chair should take it, but whatever we decide is a consensus, I'll present that.
Yeah, and we'll work with you,
Yeah, yes.
before you have to do that, we'll all be together on where obviously where you're going to.
We will get to some point. All right, Article 4, capital budget. Does anyone remember who was assigned capital?
It really isn't a
We did it that way.
department. It's another committee, so advisory board usually, what's your opinion on that?
I think you leave it to the capital advisory board. I don't
But
think
we
you want.
have to make some
Yeah.
level of advice.
Yeah, whatever the article is, we do look at the article and do we recommend or not recommend what they're requesting and what's being funded? That's
Yeah.
it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we've provided them with information regarding what's available for capital funding this year based on utilization of some available free cash, repurposing of some articles, money that, that's also going to be available. And so we've provided that to capital planning, and they're going to have a meeting subsequent to that.
So this is, most of the capital expenses here, Donnie, are in the area that you and Paul, well, I mean, there's school department as well, harbor master and animal control, but for the most part, it's DPW.
We're meeting with them on Monday.
All right, and do you have police as well? No? Who has
Yeah,
police?
we have
Oh, they have police.
All right, yeah, so it's kind of split up. And animal control,
That's under police.
Yeah, all
So
right.
is Harbor.
So was
yeah.
Harbor Master.
Any volunteers for capital budget? Who wants to get up and speak to it?
I mean, I'm happy to do it. I mean, I was on the capital budget committee.
You got it.
So I'm happy.
You don't have to convince me. That's Chris.
I'm happy to do it. I can talk to
Anyone
Jack.
disagree? Chris will talk to Article 4.
Well, unless you want us to talk to the DPW.
Well, you need to talk to them about the, okay, all right, but get any details to support Chris on the expenses they're looking to.
Donnie, it's like when we would speak, you'd say the advisory board recommends blank. We've met with the departments, and this is the capital that's being funded, for
Yeah.
these reasons, blah, blah, blah. I would just do that. It would all come from all of us.
Yeah.
So, right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I, Mr. Warren?
Yes.
Are the numbers on the capital budget article changing at all?
So they've approved 2.3.
$2,179,000?
Yeah, that's going to come down.
It's gonna come down?
Yeah.
So we're gonna get a new article?
No, not all of they're going to, yes, not
gonna
a new
amend.
article, but they're going to amend the amount that they're going to recommend, I
We
anticipate.
get that in advance?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, but ultimately, you'll be the one to stand up and
Yeah, I just wanna
speak for
make
the
Yeah.
advisory board.
I believe they're over 2 million for what they're recommending, and we've identified about 1.35 that's available.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
thank you.
Article 5 is water expense fund, water enterprise fund, I should say. Donnie, is that you and Paul?
Yeah,
All right, so,
and that money's there.
yep, that's fine. And wastewater is Article 6, enterprise
Same.
account, so that's yours as well.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to assign, that'll be in my mind, that's Paul and you.
Yeah.
You guys could choose which one's going to stand up and make the recommendation. Sound
Right.
good?
Yeah.
Anyone disagree with those assignments?
Nope, that makes sense to me.
All right, very good. All right, that's just housekeeping at this point in time.
Vin, is there any way we could move a little bit ahead to get the veterans agent up here?
Yeah, well, what I asked Karen was to, if we could get through, I don't want to hold Peter up. I'd
Okay.
like to get through Peter and then first on, right after that. And
Perfect.
she was,
She's here with her,
Okay.
with Lisa, yeah.
where, are they on the,
Well, they're downstairs
They're
in
in the
their
building.
office.
Okay.
I said I'd call them. and
yeah,
they'll come right
yeah.
up.
So let's have our discussion with the interim town administrator, and then first up to bat will be the veterans.
Yeah.
Sound good? Okay, so, Mr. Moran, thanks for coming, appreciate your time. I'm going to let, and we haven't rehearsed this, but Peter, you had several standing questions that I think are, when I looked at them, I thought they were right on target, and if you kick us off, I think that'll get the discussion going quickest.
Absolutely. Let me catch up, sorry.
He's taking notes.
I was acting as secretary. So, okay, Peter, thanks. Appreciate you being with us. Great name. The first question I have, the new deficit we're working with, I believe we're using the number 5.6?
Correct.
Okay. Can you just talk a little bit, kind of bullet pointed as to how we got down to that 5.6? number
Sure.
Before I dive in?
And
And I don't need you to,
I don't, yeah.
Generally.
Okay.
what happened, what changed?
I can tell you how we got here. If I lose you, just stop me.
I absolutely
and
will.
I'll explain. So at the beginning of the process, in December, Charlie Sumner put a forecast together identifying what he thought the deficit would be between forecast revenues and forecast expenditures. And he identified a $7 million gap that did not include, or I won't talk about what was not included. The $7 million gap was derived from the requests from departments, okay, what they asked for, okay? And based on projected revenues and requests, there was a $7 million gap.
Can I ask a question about that? Sorry. I know it's very early, but I was looking back at Article 3, and at least the numbers don't add up to 7 between what the departments were requesting at the time. Article 3, yeah, that's what I said. And at least what we saw, the projected revenues, it seemed like it was more like 2 or 3 million or something.
I can't, I don't have it in front of me, I'd have to look at it. I'd be happy to get you an explanation on that discrepancy. But how it went from 7 to 5.6 is, after we got the requests, we reviewed the requests, and we identified areas that, two things happened. One, we identified areas where there could be reductions that wouldn't impact delivery of services. And secondly, we had anticipated costs in a couple of areas to be higher than they actually were. Primary area of that is health insurance. The Mayflower projected increase was 14%. It was actually 10 because they used reserves from the joint purchasing group to mitigate the impact of the increase from 14% to 10%. So that brought down about $300,000 in reduced costs.
So that's firm, that's not,
That is absolutely firm. That was approved. I voted in favor of that 10%, and they were trying to peddle it as good news. Double digits is never good news, but it's better news than 14%. So that brought it down. We also I went in department by department and took money out. We reduced some part-time positions. We did not fund some unfilled positions in certain departments when we saw a history of, not filling them for the entire fiscal year and beyond. We, and we reduced some budgets and so forth, and so we came up with in total about we went down from 7 to 5.6, so about 1.4 million.
so when you went in department by department, were the department leaders,
Yeah.
managers or directors, whatever their titles are?
Everything that was taken out,
They were-
every department head was informed of it.
Right, and
Yeah.
we wouldn't expect them to be happy about it, but
No.
they were concurring that,
They-
okay, I can live with this number?
They were. I just meeting with the treasurer collector this evening, going over her stuff just in a microcosm to make sure that my understanding of it was correct. There was a reduction of a part-time position in her or full-time that's going down to part-time. There's a reduction of staffing in that, and she can live with it. And she'd prefer to have a full position, but she's not, and we'll make do.
Sorry to interrupt, but I think you're at a good natural pause for
Yep.
A and B bullet points on my questions.
Oh, okay.
Does the current 5.6 number, does that include the approval and ratification of the solar contract and the expected revenues from that?
No, it doesn't. And the solar contract revenues kick in the next fiscal year, not this year.
Not this year.
Okay.
So,
Perfect sense.
the cavalry's coming, but,
And I'll
Yeah.
come,
yeah,
I'm sure
Gotta
I'll
circle the wagons.
yeah.
come back to that.
Keep it in the same form.
And then, as far as expected additional revenues coming in, whether it be from some of the permit fees that we've just put up, new businesses, et cetera, that's all balanced out relative to that 5.6?
There is,
Seemed to be some discrepancy on expected revenues versus this delta. And I just want to make sure we're clear that that's been
Yeah,
coordinated and
I
calculated.
think, to be candid, that the anticipated revenues were conservative. The anticipated revenues that Charlie used, the numbers were, on local receipts and things, were conservative because he thought that, at the time that he was looking at them mid-year and previous performance, he thought that they were overly optimistic. So a couple of areas where we probably will see for a little bit of a bump, and I'm talking about in the hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh, certainly.
much more. local aid went higher than we anticipated.
Cherry sheet.
Yeah, the cherry sheet bump up is a little bit better in the House and the Senate side than the governor's, so we're going to get a little bit more once they get through with
Their process.
conference committee. We'll get more than we thought. Still not a spectacular number and not a difference maker, but, anything's helpful. I want to take a look at excise to see where we are. I haven't looked at it.
Your best guess, and I don't mean to put you on the spot,
Yeah,
but you're
sure.
here, so I'm going to ask.
I think we're going to meet expectations as far as what the anticipated revenues were for this fiscal year, but going ahead,
So Charlie's conservative numbers for '27, you think we'll just meet?
for 27, I think you'll hit them.
Okay, we won't
don't-
exceed
You might have,
100,000,
no,
200,000.
you might move past them, but in these economic times, it's appropriate to be measured in those estimates because there's so much stagnant economically, not only due to inflation, but just the way that the economy is evolving post-COVID and office space and building and things like that, cost of borrowing, all those things are not working themselves out, and we have to wait, to hop on it.
And then my next part of this question is, when we're looking at this, one of the questions I had, I'm sorry, I'm confusing myself between two different sheets, trying to take notes.
That's all right.
Questions. Between, looking at the upcoming budget, there was mention made that Budget A was a balanced budget, and then I heard no mention of Budget B and C being balanced in the, municipal finance sense. Is that an accurate assessment? Do we feel that all three are in fact balanced? This is kind of going back on my expected revenues question.
Yeah, they're all going to be balanced. There'll be reductions if there's not a $7 million or if there's not a $5.6 million override. There will be adjustments in budgets to meet whatever budget is made. So come July 1st, the adjustments will be made to staffing and so forth. If they have to be staffing, we're working with departments now. Okay, if I take this hit, can I reduce my budget this way, by a reduction in hours, by reducing this supply line?
No, I totally
things
understood,
like
but the meat and potatoes of my question,
Yeah.
I guess, were
They'll all be
we're
they'll all be
using
balanced.
we're using the same estimate for recurring revenues across the board. The only change or delta is that the override question.
Correct.
Okay, just
Right.
making
So
sure.
they would be balanced.
And then is there any conversation that needs to be had relative to this override, specifically for the '27 budget, about, I believe there's a contract for police coming due?
There's contracts with police, DPW, fire,
and then
schools.
the VOC
So,
as well. Are
yeah,
those
and the
all
VOC
going
type.
to impact '27, or are those further down?
No, they can impact 27.
And so those are not, they are not weighted in the three budgets we have in front of us?
They are not. There is no CBA increase or funding in either in the 5.6 or in the no override or in the 4 million. If there was a 7 instead of a 5.6, then you would have additional levy capacity, and potentially it could be used for to an extent for collective bargaining. So 1% across the board for all town employees is approximately $750,000. So, if you,
And what was that percentage again? I apologize?
1%.
1%,
So
understood.
each 1%, you can just add 750 to the budget. So if you did a 7 and you've got 1.4 in wiggle room in there, you could use it for that. But then,
Would it be a guess? Or
yeah,
guessing?
so that would be 750. you're still, in that 1.4 million, you're talking about salary increases potentially, you're talking about South Shore Voc additional charges, you're talking about South Shore Voc construction charges. Are not addressed in the proposed budgets, any of these proposed budgets.
Have we started negotiations with any of those?
Oh, yeah.
Bargaining units?
And they're waiting right now for the outcomes of town meeting.
So
I would imagine.
what my experience is with bargaining is that you discuss as much as you can that doesn't relate to salaries and benefits, and salaries and benefits go at the
Correct.
end.
What we're trying to do is identify what the issues are and get down to, what, you do the initial proposals, then you cull on both sides. These are non-starters on both sides, and then you
Right.
get those out of the way. You try to identify language issues that you can resolve that are non-monetary, and then, in this situation, we're doing that. And then we are basically in a holding pattern as far as salaries. I have opened the books and shown them, what our projections are and explained where they came from and everything. And, they're good conversations. The unions are responsible in their bargaining. But, these are hard discussions to have.
Sure, got it, thank you.
Peter, can I ask a quick question?
Oh, yeah, sure.
That 1.4 reduction you were speaking of, was that just town only, or that's town and
Yes.
school?
Yeah, thank you for that. This 1.4 was just on the town side. This is the town looking at, can we take our side down more? We left the schools, it's their request. We left theirs alone. We made all these cuts were made on the town side.
I just want to tee off on his question, just so I understand it. A, B, and C, the school request is identical.
The school request is well, the school request is identical in all three, yeah. Yeah. But the funding level is different in all three, but, yeah.
Well, as I understand the school's presentation that's on the website, their no override budget is tier one is 2.4 reduction, correct? $2.4 million reduction, as I read there. And I
Yeah.
think that comes out in the.
I believe that, yeah. I'd
All
go,
right, we're going to talk to Dr. Sullivan.
yeah, I would go with what they've put up on their website. I do not wish to contradict
Yeah,
that.
I get it.
I have spoken to Dr. Sullivan and the chair of the school committee today, just to verify with them that the 5.6, basically, without a better phrase, holds them harmless, which
Yeah.
I don't think is a good phrase, but doesn't impact them. It impacts town departments, all but schools.
Got it.
Yeah. And it does impact Public Works. One area that we did find, there were requests for playground maintenance and road maintenance that there were already existing funding sources that met the amounts that they were requesting, so we were able to reduce those requests.
So the 5.6
Includes that as well.
includes DPW and schools, basically.
No, it,
staying
yeah,
true.
5.6 does have some reductions in DPW, none in schools.
Understood.
Only where we identified
Sure.
existing
Did due diligence.
resources for DPW.
Any other questions for Mr. Moran? You do?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
go keep
kind of.
going.
No, go.
Get them all out there.
He's a captive audience right now, kind of.
Some of these you may not be able to answer, and they're
I'll do
kind of-
my best.
Yeah, they might be judgment calls, so totally understood if you can't. Is this override from where you sit, and you've obviously been, nose in the books for a period of time, and it's commendable. Do you think this is, I say this politely, based on previous workings, I know we've rejiggered how the budget is allocated, how we're looking at town departments, how we're setting it up to look at historical spends. We're doing much better with our best practices. Is this override intended to kind of solve a temporary imbalance, or do you think that it's a larger structural issue where our recurring expenditures are outpacing our recurring revenues?
The way I view an override is a reset, or, to put it simpler, catching your breath. It's basically, and it should be a watershed moment in which you adopt practices so that you're not back asking for one for another 5 years. That's, so you are basically where Braintree was 2 years ago. Braintree had a $8 million override 2 years ago, and what we did since then is identified what we thought our recurring revenues will be, which we've identified at 2.8%. And thankfully, we overachieved that each year thus far.
With an override?
No,
Okay,
no, with growth.
okay.
So we've been able to get like a 1.5% to 2% growth in those periods. So for instance, this year, we're going up 3.4% overall in our budget. School budget's going up about 4%. We're able to accommodate that. They wanted more, but, we reduced their request by $1 million, or the mayor did. But we identified 2.8%. We're spending, 3.4 or 4%, somewhere in that ballpark. When you have that, you identify, how are you going to close that gap? Do you have growth? Do you have alternative, funding sources? Part of the override funds that were passed were put into an override stabilization fund, so that if there were small gaps that had to be closed because revenue hadn't grown, that we could use some of the override beyond what balanced the budget for the fiscal year 2 years ago to smooth the transition, into relying on sustainable growth. So $113,000 was added to a $130 million budget, or $160 million budget last night, to help smooth that. But, so you are in a position that's similar. What you have to do in addition, once this override passes, you have to make sure that you do revenue forecasting, which is going to identify what you think you're going to be sustainably able to grow, 2.5 plus new growth. Get a good idea of what what your growth rate is going to be over the next 5 years, and identify whether you can live within those means or not. And if your projected spending is still going to be over, you've got to do something to bring the two together. You're either going to have to deliver services differently. You're either going to have to grow, or you're going to have to reduce expenses in some way.
So on that note, I guess my question is, let's say
Increases on an override.
if an override is not pursued, are we realistically going to solve this problem through reductions and restructuring?
It's supposed to.
Or are we kind of putting the same financial pressures onto future fiscal years? Is it,
I think the distinction between the catching your breath with an override and the reset that you're going to have without an override is there's going to be a notable reduction in services. Okay? So you're going to have to, you need to adopt better practices, and you've already started doing that right now. And it's a question for the residents is whether they want to, take the hit, or whether they want to, they're satisfied with paying at this level, paying more to have services at this level, and having, living within identified means for the next several years. And making that commitment, and that the government shares that commitment, so that so that you're not back here in 2 years or so, you know.
And then, go ahead, please, I'm sorry, I could go all day.
Sorry, maybe this is the obvious, but that means that we're still exposed for the collective bargaining agreements.
You are now, and yeah, you are.
after- If we do the 5.3.
If you do the 5.6, yeah, you're still going to have to find money to pay for overrides and South Shore Voc Tech and things like that. Now, one of the things that you have on the horizon is the solar money, and that can help you. I think that helps you with the Voc Tech construction very well.
How much would it be?
That'd be over $1 million,
Per year,
yeah, for 20 years,
for 20 years.
yeah,
About $1 million a year?
yeah.
20 years.
What is the ballpark amount for collective bargaining or anticipated increase for next year? I know you don't know, but what is the range that could be?
I'm not sure we,
Because are we gonna increase it next year and then the year after and then the year after?
No, so,
I mean,
it's going to be somewhere between 0 and 3%.
And what,
It's negotiation, I mean.
It's a
understood.
negotiation.
I know it's
Well,
undetermined.
just
but-
to sum that up, 1% is 750,000. The solar is bringing in $1 million a year. I mean, 1%, and that's effectively gone. So the solar is not doing, don't get me wrong, awesome that we're getting $1 million. Cheers to the select board for approving that, and it's awesome that we found $1 million a year for 20 years. That we can't, I'm not turning my nose up at that, but that doesn't solve for this.
It doesn't, yeah.
Remotely. Remotely.
Yeah, doesn't.
Go ahead.
sorry, just quickly, and not that it's necessarily a model, but what was the increase in the firefighters?
the contract that we approved at town meeting.
It was, yeah, the COLAs were in the 2.5% range. And I said 0 to 3 because the most I'm seeing that's been out there in neighboring communities is 3. Braintree settled for 2 3/4 with their teachers and their librarians and their utility workers. That's on the high end, but that's just COLA.
I bring it up because the can got kicked down the road a few years
Yeah,
this last time.
absolutely.
And so we don't want to do that again. So
Yeah.
best practices, we should plan for that in the budget now and
Yes.
not say, hey, I ran out of money.
Yeah.
Some more next year.
What you need to do,
Are we doing that?
you should think about whether you can do this in the fall once you get free cash, is to create an article for funding collective bargaining. And put, so that you have an article, and then you can hold on to that and encumber it for future use once the contracts settle. But putting aside money annually for collective bargaining as well as any other personnel is a best practice. Braintree finally got themselves into a position where they're funding that year to year. Norwell did it, when I was town administrator, year to year, and let the accountant disperse it in accordance with the contract.
Within each budget, though?
No, not within each budget. It's a separate article. It would be like setting up a reserve fund. But it's an article for anticipation of settlement of collective bargaining. And you fund it every year, even though every 3 you're going to settle, so that you've got the money available to help offset rather than take the hit every 3 years. It smooths the impact a little bit. And you'll get there. You'll get to a point where you're going to be able to do that.
Peter, it's always dangerous to do math in public, but I read the fiscal year 2026 budget is 121 million, almost exactly, and the no override budget as 124, almost exactly, which is 2.5% increase. So that's the overall budget, including schools, DPW, and the town itself.
With no override.
Did everyone in that grouping stick to the 2.5%, or did some areas of the town take a harder hit so others can go over 2.5%?
I don't, it wasn't a uniform 2.5% everywhere. It was not. If some budgets could take more, they did.
Got it.
I have one final question. I know a lot of this, we've talked about, fixed costs, health insurance, pensions, contractual obligations, et cetera. And then I understand kind of the second bucket that at least I'm looking at as we're having these discussions is service level impacts. If you can remove a little bit shelter off service level impacts, are you able to discuss kind of what percentage you're seeing of this spending is discretionary, is not necessarily 100% tied to the services rendered to the town, but maybe ancillary there? And just to give an example, Chief Tavares did a wonderful job of explaining the what-ifs and, hey, we're going to cut back some of this training or some of this elective stuff we don't want to, but we really don't want to impact the response time and the services rendered to the constituents, which I think got my mind going as to what are you seeing, again, being deep in these conversations with some of the other departments? Are you seeing a large percentage of these discretionary expenses, or is it small, or can you shed any light on that?
So where we saw, I wouldn't call them discretionary.
That
but-
might be a poor turn of phrase.
Yeah, I don't think it falls completely into discretionary, but
Voluntary.
what we saw were, if we saw a position that was unfilled or hadn't been filled in a year, we were saying, well, now's the time that, if you weren't able to fill it when the money was a little bit more available, you're certainly not going to be able to fill it and sustain it in the coming fiscal year. So we saw that as an area that we could reduce. We looked at certain job functions that we could perform with fewer hours in the week. And a lot of those came from department heads, in order to keep someone, and I think it's important that it makes sense to me if someone's willing to take reduction in hours, it's a savings to the town that they're not paying unemployment. They're getting a function out of them, even if they're not getting as much. And it's showing a respect for the work that the person is doing, that we're trying to, hold on to it and see what we can see, some level of service that is being provided. So that's the way we're looking at it. It is going to impact discretion. And the chiefs in a police or public safety environment, what you're looking at is less traffic enforcement. You're looking at, he's not going to impact response time, but there's less of an opportunity to do community policing where you get out of the car and meet with people face to face rather than through the window of a squad car, and where you're getting out and wandering because you can't cover as much ground outside of your vehicle. So your interactions with public are reduced. So that community policing is going to be reduced. Some of that stuff. If it gets far enough, we reduce our school resource officers and things like that. That can be seen to an extent as somewhat discretionary. We're just providing a lesser level of service than we were previously.
Where are they funded in the 2027 budget?
They're in the department. They're not, they were previously funded through free cash articles that would fall either in an annual or in a special town meeting. They're in the departments now. We're not funding personnel that way.
So they're in the school budget or the police budget?
I believe they're in the police budget, but I'll double check that for you.
I remember them being.
I prefer to have those
They're
in
out
the
of
police.
free cash.
Yeah, I prefer to have those in the police budgets.
Originally out of free cash.
Yeah, because chain of command is important in that line of
Sure.
function. And, if they have to be reassigned to traditional patrol duties, it's cleaner for them to be on the police budget.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, did we have, I have a note here, but I don't have the nuts and bolts of it, relative to facilities. We had a question about the allocation of some of those funds on the budget last time we met.
I'm not sure.
Thought we had a conversation.
Was there
Division.
duplication?
Was there
yeah.
division of, yeah, if the
Yes.
schools.
Does anyone want
had
to
maintenance and the
articulate
town
that?
had maintenance?
Yeah,
is
you're
there any
right. No,
overlap?
I know exactly what you're asking. Ed's right. Paul DeCristofaro was curious if there are sections of the budget where the school department, for instance, has a facilities maintenance area that they manage, and DPW has a facilities maintenance area they manage, and are they conflicting, or are we getting duplication? Is that turning into a
I'm not
slush?
I'm not aware of that duplication being, that it's duplicative. The facilities folks that we have are working on all buildings townwide, the two gentlemen that I work with. I don't think it's duplicative at all, but I think if it, I think one area that is worthy of exploration is consolidating the function in one place or another, whether it's in Public Works or separately.
For the same reason, school resource officers should report to the police department.
Yes, school maintenance can be a different, since they have the predominant number of assets, it can be a different animal. But I think that it does allow for economies if you consolidate. Braintree did it and took all maintenance into the facilities department on the town side, took it out of the school budget. They readily absorbed the $2 million that they saved, and so it didn't create that much budget wiggle room for them. But I think I definitely recommend exploring that as a.
So
As an area.
tomorrow, we'll have Dr. Sullivan and his staff to talk to us at our meeting at the public library. That would be a question for him. Do you have anywhere in your budget facilities? Are you aware of any, Scott,
Sure
that
they
have
do.
come up?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I mean, I think the most important thing is the differentiation between those line items, right? Like, so if it says facilities and facilities, what are those two different,
What do they mean?
what do they mean? Like, I mean, I think I don't know, I think that there's some
I think what the difference, it's like a macro and micro type
Yeah,
of thing. 'Cause
exactly.
Our facilities people, yeah, they are doing work. They'll do HVAC in this building and
Right.
stuff like that. But they're managing the larger projects when it comes to the schools. They're doing the roof projects, the window projects, things like that.
Yeah.
And so it's not intended to provide duplication. A lot of times, there's limitations in the facilities by union contract. In the schools, they'll only go so far from the envelope of the building.
right.
So Peter, can I ask a quick question? So are you proposing that the resource officer should be assigned to the police budget as compared to the school budget?
I think if they're not there, they should eventually go there.
Okay.
They're already there.
Because I know currently,
There might be
this
one-
budget, there's one at DW that we're still paying for, the school's still paying for.
Yeah, I think it should be, I think if it hasn't been done by now, it should be done.
Okay.
It should go over to the school, from the schools to the police.
Okay, thank you.
And the funding should follow.
We need to nail that down.
Yeah.
Who has the resource officers in their budget?
The school is?
Yeah.
So they're paying for one, but not all three.
Yeah, the other two, I think, moved, I believe moved in. That was my understanding, and that's,
And one other question on that too is if a school needs like a detail for like a sporting event, they should be paying it? Or the police? And I know I'm going into the, but Should the
The
school be
detail
paying
is
for it?
usually related
To the sports
to
event.
the event. You know, it shouldn't be waived, you know, and again, this is my opinion, you know, your mileage may vary, but my opinion is that it should come out of I think that if you're doing an athletic fee, that should be incorporated into any athletic fee that is being paid, is the details. It should. Now, I went off on a tirade in a previous job when I found out that we were hosting the state championship track meet at Norwell High School. And we had to do all-day details, and it was on our side of the thing, and we didn't know we were hosting. You know, it was a great feather in the cap of the school athletic director, but he didn't tell me I had to pay for the details until the week before, which, you know, at the end of a fiscal year, it kind of sucks. So, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Moran?
I just have one other question. Regarding the fees to that 700,000 unemployment, has anyone taken a look or contacted the state? I know maybe Charlie was talking about contacting the state to see if we can recoup any of those funds. Has anyone reached out to
We
them?
explored principal and penalties and interest payments, getting them reduced, and we weren't able to make any headway.
Okay.
Yeah, I made some calls and so forth, and we cross-checked everything to see if there were numbers that, you know, fraudulent numbers or things like that, but we got nowhere.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Moran, thank you for your time and shedding light on a lot of areas that we're exploring here.
I hope that I can be a better source of light as we come forward and try, you know, we'll put together templates and slide decks and whatnot. And if you have questions, you know, at any time, please send them. You know, our job is to get the best information out to the public so that they can make informed decisions. There is no intent to hide anything, to mislead or anything. This is, you know, and I'll take a look to see, you know, at the original article to see where the problems are.
Well, I think some of the things that you talked about probably help explain it.
Yeah.
You know, not linearly, but at least conceptually.
Yeah, yeah, and this can be hard to explain. So, but I'll, you know, try to do it as best as I can. And I appreciate your patience and you know, your steadfastness through this process. I really do. We were asking more from you than, quite frankly, we should be, but we want to get this right. It's a budget and budget practices that are in transition. I am optimistic that you'll have a strong fiscal leader, you know, that will come in and take my place and get things heading in the right direction for you in the coming years, because we've got everything in place to be a successful town. And, you know, whether an override passes or whether it doesn't, you know, I'm confident that you'll have the leadership to implement what needs to be done to get the town back on the right track again.
When could we expect that slide deck? Sorry to...
I'll try to get it, yeah, I'm going to be working on it tomorrow, and, yeah, as far as the template that Select Board Member Smith gave me, I think that will illustrate a lot. There's a number of slides that he wants me to prepare. I hope to have that ready by tomorrow.
That'd be great to get that.
Yeah.
This is just I had a note here. In the current forecast, there is solar revenues. Are we borrowing against future, or are we also?
No, there are some now.
Okay, about
They're
$500,000.
just not, yeah, the million that I'm talking about is in addition.
Future.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
We have a partial array field.
I didn't know. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
don't say the
got,
wrong thing in
Yeah,
the wrong company.
yeah.
Appreciate that.
No.
yeah, no, just as an aside, the work that was done by special counsel on that was nothing short of it was truly exceptional work where, you know, the party that is going to be paying us money was, started from a position saying we owed them millions. And she just turned, you know, took the data, took the contracts and said, no, you owe us. And this is how we're going to get there. And it was just, you know, masterful legal work. You know, best I've ever seen. And this is the most advantageous solar array payment system that I've seen in working in, you know, the communities that I've worked in. It's a really good deal for the town, and it could bring in more if you decide to put up other arrays. Like if you put them on the roof of the DPW, you can make money there. And they identify, you're not beholden to do that, you're not required to, but you're required to explore that. And you can make another $500,000 a year if you did everything that they're asking you to look at.
Well, I think it's important that we consistently look for revenue opportunities such as that. I mean, there's things going on in other towns, not just in Massachusetts, but across the globe that could be looked into as revenue producing, that it aren't just restaurants and bars and liquor stores and things like that and events. And, you know, I mean, we're a seaside town that gets a lot of tourism, but there is other ways to create revenue. And, you know, just like in business, I mean, you either you can't cut your way to profitability, so you have to find a way to create more revenue. So I applaud you, and I applaud, you know, Select Board for putting that together, and obviously you hired the right attorney to help. So
Yeah.
we need to keep looking due diligence and really include our department heads in that.
Oh, yeah, and residents
And
as well.
residents as well.
Residents as well. I mean, there's so much underutilized space here. And you've also done a wonderful job of preserving open space, too. And
Huge feather in our cap.
Yeah, and that enhances the value of yeah, and the quality of life, and the value of your property. But commercially, once businesses figure out where they want to go with retail, where they want to go with office space and commercial space, this town has resources and opportunities for investment that are really strong, and I think the town should be ready to take advantage of it once the economy does a better job of sorting itself out. So,
Very good.
all right. Well,
Thank you, sir.
thank you again for your work, for your patience. And again, any questions that come up at any time, please send them to me. I'll do my best to get the information to you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I just want to qualify, because I know that whenever I say anything, it gets put against the charter. My comments about what you do as an advisory board are what I think
Strictly
they
opinion.
are, and not a recitation from the charter. But I think that you know, that your wisdom and your experience should inform the town's decision-making, and you should, you know, make your decisions based on what you feel is in the best interest of the town. So thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Donnie,
Yeah,
do you want to call, or?
I'll call Karen, she's
All right,
downstairs.
while we're waiting, we can proceed with, you know, and we'll stop going through the line items specifically.
Yeah, Karen Paulette would come up, she'd like to talk about the budget for the veterans, so
I see Lisa's on, so.
have one of these, she'll explain this as well. And
I have mine.
you got one?
I do.
They have them down the end. There's that as well, yeah. I'll call her right now.
I mean, I guess it's fine.
Is this different from this presentation?
No, that's just supplemental, but she, rather than speak to, yeah, I'm gonna let her do the talking.
Okay. So ultimately, what I want to get to is that the line by line through the budget, for all areas that I didn't gray out because I didn't see much value in getting there, I'd like to get to a point where we ask.
She's
for
right here.
instance, you know, the Veterans Department, or the school department, or whatever, what are the key areas that have been cut that you would like
Secret agent.
restored, and get a number for them? So does that make sense to everyone on the sheet that I sent out, the spreadsheet that I sent out? As we go through our evaluations, I'm going to be looking to fill in the most desired additions to add back to the no override budget and how much that would cost. If the override ferry were to come down and bless that department, what would they would like? And it has to be something less than the 2027 request. That's probably not a realistic thing. I'm looking for, okay, based on what you know you're losing in the no override budget, what would you really, really need to serve the town that you're losing? That's what I want to get to. So, Ms. Paulette, that's kind of your introduction to what we're
Karen Paulette and
doing.
Lisa Potts, veterans agents, and,
Yep. So,
Is this Peter's?
yeah. Oh,
Go ahead.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
yeah, he can't leave long without that. So I appreciate you coming and presenting to us, but what we need to go through a lot. And the veterans' budget is only one piece of, 30 or 40 line items we have to get through.
Understood.
What, we're going to start, I think the general consensus I heard earlier, from the board members was the no override budget is our baseline. That's the only money we have. We have 2.5% plus, on top of the 2026 budget to work with. So, and that hurts every department in town. It causes cuts, and we get that. So what cuts are necessary to, in the expert's eyes, the department leader's eyes, that have to be put back? And what would that cost is what I want to get to. And if that number is $1 million, it's $1 million. If it's $100, it's $100. I'll be, the town clerk gave me a number of $6,000, just to let you know, she's looking at her department, and I can work with this number. I need this money to fix the safe in the town clerk's office. I thought that was very, very nice. But, so anyway, I just wanted to kick off your discussion with kind of that framework in mind that,
could I say one thing?
yes, Donnie.
I don't think they're here to look for more money. They're looking to take what they've been allocated and adjust it so that they can deal responsibly and serve the veterans. And I'll let them go with that.
So what we first want to get out, that's really important, is the two biggest pieces of our budget is our salaries, because this is really, right here is where the meat of the office is, okay? It's what we know and how we operate to support our veterans and spouses. The second biggest piece of our budget is the veterans benefits line. And what we want to ensure that everybody knows is whatever we spend out of that veterans benefit line, that big number, comes back to the town 75% the next year. So
Let me hold you up there. So we are, in your budget sheet, we are looking at item 543 and 544 are the veterans services and veterans benefits, correct?
Yes.
All right, so right now, what the zero override budget has for veterans services is a recommended budget, and we didn't recommend it, so, it is what it is $154,736.72, and the veterans benefits is $275,000. Does that line up with what's in front of you?
Where's the 150? I don't see
The
that.
275 is fine, and that is what we gave back when we first met about our budget, and we were asked, what can you give comfortably without, detrimental? So we said we'd give back 55,000. Then when we were handed the A budget, it was an additional 60,000 off, so we were deducted $110,000 out of our full budget.
The number,
So
I wouldn't look at this. What were we given by Meg? This is the numbers that I got from Meg.
For which budget?
This is the 543 budget. I have 154,736 is the A budget, no override.
no.
I don't see that.
Was this what you gave me yesterday?
Yeah, that's,
We have to be
Okay,
talking
so
from the
maybe
same
is it
sheet, or we're
this
not having a
plus this,
conversation,
Karen?
folks.
That doesn't include the veterans' benefits.
Right, the veterans' benefits are under a different line item.
No,
It's under
it
the
should, it's
544
always,
budget.
no, I don't have a
did you say-
544.
Just
Mine are
under
always,
Yep, just under services, 543 budget.
oh, I didn't have, so I've always had 543 as a total budget. Complete. So,
So is it 154, is that what you said?
154, 736,
okay, so
73.
you,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
but that is not the one that when we met with Peter after this was handed to us, because what this did was, if you look, it cut salaries.
Ain't no budget, ain't no budget.
The A budget, this cut the salaries, so
By
this.
$60,000.
This took, the additional 60 came out of salaries.
Okay.
That means I'd be working alone, and I cannot work alone,
I have 154, 730, 72.
That's right.
Yep.
right? So
Okay,
what we
all right.
did,
So this is good. I'm getting to the
Okay.
feel, we all have the, and so what I'm sensing, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, is that one of the things that you would request is the 543 budget have an adder of whatever, $60,000
Mm-hmm.
for the additional person that you've been cut.
yes.
Is that a
but-
fair statement?
Yes, but what we did was, because we, in order to keep that person, we had to come up with a plan to meet the bottom line, which was 429, 733, 77 overall. So what we did was, I put,
I don't know what that is. Is that
Okay.
154, 736
Okay.
plus 275?
we moved the money around, and what I did was, I put the person back in, and I took out most of all of our expenses.
Expenses.
I left $200 for envelopes. I took out everything to do with supplies and events, celebrations, took all that out.
Parades.
Because it's more important for our office to have 2 people than it is to have these things, and we will have to figure that out. So if you're asking what we could use in a real world, the B budget, which was that one you just talked about, would be great, but we can operate with the A if we have to, as long as I can keep the person. That's really what I want to make sure that you have.
I fully understand that. So that, again, that sounds to me like the no override budget plus $60,000 gets you to what you just said.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said.
No,
that
it's-
you
No.
The 60, it's in there. It's-
Yeah, I wanna just-
I left the 60 out. What I did was.
Can I try to say this in a different,
Yes, please.
in a
Thank
different
you.
voice? A budget, no overhead.
Which is all the money the town has.
That's right,
That's
that's
it.
right.
That's
to
all
be
the money
clear.
we
That's
have.
what's available. You're stating, which I've heard from a couple of departments I've spoken to, that when they suggested what you're going to be losing, they broke it out by category. You're saying, no problem, that total dollar amount we can lose, but we don't agree with the categories.
Correct.
So in other words, instead of taking it out of salaries, you're going to take it out of
Everything else.
supplies and maintenance and whatever there else is. We can go through line by line, but
Yes.
it's the same total dollar amount. So we're meeting the A budget, we're operating efficiently, we're not cutting services, we're not impacting as best we can the services rendered,
Yeah.
trying not to put words in your mouth, by the VSO. But we're still subtracting that amount and operating with the money provided to us under the A budget. You just don't agree with, or you're requesting to renegotiate
The movement.
the buckets.
Right.
Recategorize it.
So
Reallocate,
Which I-
reallocate the funds so
What would the
that,
543 budget line item be in your mind to do what you
So
just
that's fine.
agreed with
Even
Peter
would
on?
So
be
which be 12 plus that, which is what,
would
204 plus
exchange
12.7.
salaries.
For
I don't
benefits.
have these numbers,
She'd
so
add
this number with
back
that.
up in
So I don't know what
the
that,
60,000 for the second person and reduce the
so we
same
want this
amount,
back.
cutting out all.
The 10,000.
Or
That's,
most
that would be fine.
I only have
Because
two
we
numbers,
have,
though. I have one.
I know.
for-
I would say if we had 20,
Yeah.
then we could put this
That's
back.
fine.
So
Yes.
she
we
would
went
keep
down
it,
to
she would
that.
Meet it.
240.
All they've done really is move, they have a bottom line to work with,
Between her and-
and they've just
But
reallocated
that's all she's saying.
the money
is
that they will-
I can meet the A
that they have to work.
This may be a question
to
I,
meet that.
I regret not asking Mr. Moran, but I naively assumed the answer. So many of the departments, Mr. Chair, that I met with, now let's say, I won't name the department, one of the departments was
I wanna speak
effectively
to
in a
that.
$53,000 delta from A to B. They said, do you care where I find that 53,000 as long as I meet it? And I said, no, I don't think so. but much as I would at my work, I would say, this is the amount of money you have, spend it on whatever you want, but that's all there is. I think that's the request here.
But your
But ours went to
COO or
Here it
your
is.
person in charge would still
Ours
have to
went
ratify
110.
it. They
Right.
can't just make cuts and then,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like
Line
it's
item it
still-
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course,
because,
of course. No, I'm-
but they would have to.
But what I'm saying is
Agree to
that,
the, like, the town administrator and the select board would have to agree. that
This
proposal
plus this
change
is the
line item,
154,
Change the classification.
Understood.
736.
okay.
Right? Am I
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And-
I suspect so, I just didn't get that far in the
Yeah.
weeds, I suppose. My
My challenge
question.
for us is that's not where we are.
Well, that's
We're
why I
all
didn't
in
get into
violent
it.
agreement here. So
We
when
got
I
cut
look at,
twice.
when I
I
look
just
at
wanna make
this,
sure that- No.
Yeah, that's,
Understood.
we want to make sure that that's understood, that
We
we
got
got,
cut
we
twice.
basically got cut twice.
a lot of this is how you do business with town hall, and that's fine. We don't need, I
Yeah.
don't think this committee needs to get into that level of minutia. What I see here is that you want, your budget is 144,036 on this sheet.
No, that's not the one we want at all. Because see how that salaries line is 144, if you go to the right, it's 180. That's where they took, it said cut personnel, that's where they took our
Extra 60.
extra 60 grand.
So which, okay, so you want this number, the 185,
Yep,
and then you want to reduce the 10,700.
down to 34.
3,400.
That's if that's the A budget, that is the one you're talking about.
Either, well.
That's
okay.
the
What's your
no
total for A
override.
budget?
I'm sorry,
What is your bottom line total for A budget?
For 543, for the.
429, 733, 77.
That's
That's
both
change.
544 and 543, so
sorry.
separate them out, separate them out. What do you want for 543 total? Because that's what we're working
If
with.
you're asking me what I want that B budget.
No,
the one
we
that's in
don't
the
have
middle.
that to give you.
All right.
That
So then
requires
we
a
want
vote
the
of
one on the
town.
right, which is that A budget, and it's 240, 935
Right.
for the benefits,
And
and
185.
whatever the remainder is, because.
So it went, here, right here, Kara. It
Yeah.
went from, our B budget request was 12,700. And you.
Dropped it to 3,400.
3,400.
And we took an extra,
Those are our expenses.
and we took a little bit more out of benefits from 275 and dropped it to 240.
The
So you're
bottom
actually-
line hasn't
so you-
changed.
Oh, it did, you're actually coming in
Lower.
lower than the.
$2.35.
Yeah, you saved us $2 on the.
So,
What we do want to speak to, though, and we don't know if you as a board understand our benefit line. So our benefit line right now, let's just, all right, it's 270, let's use the 275. Let's round that up to 300. It's always been 330. Let's just call it 300 for example purposes. That 300, if we spend 200 in state benefits, so that state benefit program we run is financial assistance for needy veterans, okay? It's basically public assistance for veterans in town that need it. Out of that $300,000, if we use 200, you get back the 100 after the end of the fiscal year. Out of that 200, the following fiscal year, you get 75% back from the state.
we almost
So we've
self-fund
only,
ourselves,
we've only used 25% of that budget.
always.
And over the past decade, we give back the majority of it. And then the state gives it back. So just so you understand that that's how that benefit line runs, we're not spending 330,000.
Got it.
We never have.
So why are benefits being reduced if they're self-funding?
You don't get them, you get them back in quarters.
They come
It
back,
doesn't come back to us.
it doesn't come back
goes
to
the
us, it
general
goes back
fund
to
or
the
free cash, or
general.
wherever you guys, wherever it goes. That doesn't come back to our benefit line.
So we've always funded it.
Right.
Or it's always been funded high, even though,
Oh, that's,
because it's been expected to come back. And it comes back.
I-
And what happens with that benefit line is it's a state program, again, that we as the VSO office can choose, it's a reimbursement program, okay? So anything we put into the state has to go through an authorization process. And through that authorization process, the state can deny and say, no, you can't. We're not going to reimburse you for that line item. We don't do that. We make sure it's authorized before we even ask. And if it doesn't get authorized, we go elsewhere and we find it.
Because
We
what
use
do
the
you-
town's money last,
What are you
always.
doing to resolve the the delta between what you want the A budget to look like in terms of the individual, I mean, we don't have any say over this.
Right.
We're just looking at what the department impacts are and what the
We look at over the year-
necessary
over the year
additions may
trends.
be.
Over the year trends, we make sure we exhaust even more, and it takes, that's the, that's it.
I'm not being clear. Are you working with Meg LeMay to adjust this, or Peter Moran to adjust your line items so that you get to this, what you want it to be?
We did, but what came at us was the cut in personnel, so we put that back, and we said, can we do this? And he said, yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
But I don't hear
We're way
anything
good
back. We
with
don't
that.
hear back. I don't know.
We didn't actually-
We
we
didn't
didn't-
get a confirmation that this budget was okay.
And
We
you are
didn't
waiting
put-
that confirmation from whom?
So this is
Right.
why we're here.
We didn't put that 60 back.
I don't want you voting
Yeah.
on something that's not what we had asked or what's correct.
I think your numbers, when you look at the total, you're at the A budget, give or take a little bit. So I can work with this, the committee can work with this, I don't see a problem. Does anyone, am I missing something?
No, what we're saying is you have to get Peter to ratify it. You have to get the select board to ratify
Yeah,
it.
you have to get the management of the town
Right.
to okay where you want your
Well,
budget line
That
items.
did go to them.
We
So
did speak to
it
Peter.
did- we
Peter did
talk
give
to
us
him.
that.
I just don't have anything in.
They have to give you that.
This
I
is
mean, that's,
the way
we're not. I mean,
Right, I get that.
Yeah. We don't-
Right, we met their bottom line, we met their number, I've met with Meg.
Right,
I've
so
met
it
with
should be
Peter.
fine.
So it
It's
should-
behind you.
Yeah, I see,
Yeah.
Select Board Member Kelly's hand. I just want to
This was your issue,
press upon.
is that it
Yeah.
hit twice.
We-
Right.
There's nothing else that, besides the totals that I see in the far right, there's nothing else to do the job you feel you need to do. That-
Separate question.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a-
That is,
Like if
that
you
is,
need-
that's taken our expenses
but of
right
the-
out from under us.
Right.
So I think what the chairman is asking.
There's bare minimum, if we could get 10 grand back, that would be nice,
Exactly.
to be able to cover some of the things that we can't cover.
What would 10 grand
You know.
get you?
So that could get us some of our conferences, it could be an extra buffer
Trainings.
for benefits, it could really fit into wherever that wave of what we have going on would lead us, right? So we left $2,000 for events and ceremonies. So Lisa and I do all the parades, all the ceremonies, anything you can think of, and we do it on a dime. We do it either try to get it for free, try to get it donated. So,
10,000 to honor the veterans of Marshfield.
They do an amazing job, I'm telling
Yeah.
you.
You know,
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
I'm going to write that down.
if it's
Anyone
free,
have a
it's for
problem with
me, like
writing
we
that
do, we're scrappy, we really are.
All
I
right.
don't have a problem.
We really are.
Select Board Member Kelly, you had a question or a comment?
I think he agrees with us.
I don't know, we'll find out.
We're with you. Believe
I just
me.
want to make sure I don't lose the position, I cannot lose the position.
I understand.
Thank you, Chair Falcara. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
I think. I just want to say that this is news to me in regards to the veterans budget. I will just say this, that I sat down with Lisa and Karen a couple months ago in regards to a warrant that I had to sign in regards to expenses, and we had to sit down over their budget, and they gave me a pretty detailed look at how everything operates in their office and what they do, and as well as how the reimbursements work, especially through the state. So I will tell you this much. I didn't vote or authorize to cut your budget. Whatever you need to operate, I will wholeheartedly support that. I am a little concerned that because for some phenomenal reason why your budget was cut, I almost wonder if it was to feed the fire for the override. And that's the scary part that I'm thinking right now. But I can tell you this much. Bring it to me and Rick, or Rick and I should say, and let us know a number, and I'll be wholeheartedly happy to reinsert your budget, because I know you two do a lot for the veterans in town, and I do know that the state reimburses you two a whole lot of money over a period of time. I find it ridiculous that your budget got cut, so you have my word on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Appreciate that.
We really appreciate the work you've done and appreciate your time coming to talk to us.
We know, and we don't want to take up too much time
Take
of
much time.
yours, so I think our main concern, besides losing the position, was knowing that when our budget went in, the full budget was, the 532, and then we gave back 55,000, and then we turn around and got cut another 60. So that's 110,000 out of my budget, where that's a lot of,
Sure.
that's a big chunk, and I don't mind. I want to be a team player, and we turn back as much as we can always. We're not, use it or lose it people. So,
And I think over this whole process, our biggest concern, even sitting with Don or sitting when we sat with Eric, was we want to be sure that as a board, you know what we do, okay? And how much revenue we actually generate for the town. So it's not just a financial assistance revenue kind of program. VA claims bring in
$1 million a month.
$1 million a month into our local economy. I mean, and if we lose a position, or if we lose the ability to write those claims, we have 302 families in this town that are in their homes because they have that extra income and because the state pays their real estate taxes. That's all because of VA claims and understanding the VA system. That's a very difficult process. So not only, I guess you said it earlier, how we're not the department of the takers. Like, we're not Treasury, we're not taking your bill, we're not paying your real estate. You don't come to us to do that. We're the opposite. We're assisting people in staying in their homes, helping with their utilities, working through their tax bills and excise taxes and things like that. So we just wanted to be clear that,
We do give money to the town in a different way. It's just not directly in front of you.
Right,
Right.
You're selling the right product to,
Yeah.
right. We just wanted to be
You're
sure
preaching to the
people
choir
understood
here.
that. Okay.
We're all set.
So as long as we understood.
I think it's really important that you continue to do what you do, which is educate, right? You got to educate people in the
Educate.
town. You got to educate, members of the select board. You got to educate people on what you actually do and what you bring to the table in this town. I mean, Council on Aging is different, but in a little bit of a way, they're the same because
Very similar.
many elderly go to the Council on
Right.
Aging for very
Absolutely.
similar services, and it's
Yep.
very important to them.
Right.
I do want to be clear, though, this budget request, this being built, someone is doing this, right? And it's not us.
Right.
And it's
I get that.
ultimately the
Yep.
town administrator, the select board, and the finance committee, the finance department of this town, who you have to
Sure.
talk to about this to get them to bring this forward to the town.
Right. And we're
Right.
not changing any numbers.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we meet their numbers, and that's, I think,
Yeah.
the biggest thing, right? If I have this number to work into, so
Yeah.
the alternative would be, no, we want to lay somebody off,
Right.
Right.
because I make that number, and we will make it work, because that's
Right.
what we do.
But in
Figure it out.
addition to doing what you need to do, you see an additional $10,000 would be very helpful.
It would give us a little more of a buffer, I think, with our benefits line, because everything's movable within our operating budget. And if we, for some reason, couldn't find someone to donate the trolley, we get a trolley every year for our veterans and our spouses for the Veterans Day and Memorial Day, but that costs $1,000 plus tips. So these are things that we already know that we have to find donations for, right? So everything we do, now that takes time, so it's operationally will impact us, right? So I don't have things to show you, but it will impact what we do. In a nutshell.
I have no
sense?
more questions. Does anyone else have any more questions or challenges or concerns?
Okay.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys
Thank you for
coming.
listening.
Appreciate all you do.
We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. It's nice to meet many of you.
Pleasure's ours.
All right. I'll figure out how to do the math, but ultimately, I'm going to follow their sheet and add $10,000 that, to the baseline, so,
And can I say, I didn't want to say anything. When Karen, she's been the veterans agent now for 4 or 5 years, but she succeeded a fellow named Bill Dodge. And Bill Dodge had the Marshfield's Veterans Agent Office as the bell,
he's not on, speak into
as
the mic
the
there, Don.
premier one in the state. And she just continued. And the other thing that they don't want to say is they remove people. In other words, there are people that put in claims that are false. And unfortunately, they have to deal with that as they don't, So I mean, they're a benchmark for the state. You know, she's just picked up from where Bill Dodge brought her to. And she said to me when she came on here, I want to be the new Bill Dodge. When he retired. And she certainly is. And Lisa is, they do a fabulous job down there. And they're always busy working.
I think she was underselling it when she said the 10,000.
Oh, I'm sure she was.
Yeah,
But
because that's a 20% budget cut.
Like, they give back a couple of hundred, you know, it comes to the town, probably over a couple of $100,000 a year that comes back when they get reimbursed for the, you know, they acknowledge a claim, fulfill a claim for a veteran, and then when it comes back, that's free cash.
I just want to know too, I mean, I have,
They're great.
I don't have an intimate knowledge of what they do, but I do have a baseline knowledge, especially relative to the VA benefits. I mean, that is a complicated system, and there's a lot to follow up on, and missing a person, missing a step, given that it's generating, it's actually in excess of $1 million per, let's say, per month?
Basically, they
Per
do
month.
their job.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
do their-
the amount of money, that
Right.
$10,000 is going to end up on the back end for revenues for the town. I mean, it's
It almost sounds like
going to
something
dig us further into a hole, frankly.
that could be a revolving fund for another day, but.
don't complicate it.
Yeah, why
Complicate it.
not?
So I think Jan was advocating for, if we were to take the veterans line item, the veterans services or veterans benefits, and add more than the 10,000 to it. Is that kind
Well, I
of?
mean, you heard Mr. Kelly say he wants to add the whole thing back.
I mean, really, it's up to them. It's not up to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
It's up
Well,
to them.
what I'm trying to get to, though, for, you know, is if the no override is what we'll recommend, then that's fine, but if there is a floor amendment proposed, or we want to look at whether the $4 million override is to be recommended, how do we get to do the math to get us to either one of those things? And the only way I know to do that is to take the no override and ask the people who know the most about it, how much more do you need? So we can add it all up and come up with another number and just have that in our back pocket. That's the homework I think we have to do.
It's a lot to do in very little
I
amount
know,
of time.
I know. I don't,
And it's changing, and frankly, I don't think that's really our role. I really don't think it's our role to come up with the override. It's not the override number.
well, how do we then,
I
and
mean,
I'm
we're
asking,
supposed
I'm
to be
not-
getting that number from them, from the select board and the town administrator who are supposed to be owning the budget. They are supposed to be telling us what the number is. We aren't supposed to be backfilling, like,
We can
reverse
disagree
engineering
with
the
them.
number. No, I'm not saying that we need to agree with them. I'm saying that they need to do their job and come up with a budget for us.
He's a veteran.
We recommend a budget to town meeting, that's our job. Our job is not to create the budget. It's not our job. I'm just telling you, it's not our job.
So how do
That has
we,
never been our job.
how do we recommend, we have, usually you have one article that says this is the budget, and we look at it and we make a, you know, after we meet with our department, respective department leaders.
Yeah.
We say, yeah, I agree with what my department, and we collectively come up with this budget looks sound.
We could absolutely do that. I mean, we could come up with a budget based on the conversations with department heads and what they say they have to have over the baseline, no override. And we can say we met with that and that's what we recommend. But ultimately, I mean, we can do that.
And I'll just add one more piece. The $4 million override was a swag. That was just pulled out of the air.
Oh, I know that.
So
We were there,
I have
so-
no basis for recommending a $4 million override.
To me,
Right.
this is a recommendation for an addendum, you know, and they.
Amendment, yeah.
Amendment, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. They're gonna ask for an amendment in the town meeting, and we should be prepared to present a number.
Say, this is our.
This is our recommendation of X amount of dollars over the A budget or X amount of dollars under the B budget, whatever that number is, whatever the amendment is chosen, we should be prepared to present something.
We need to find out if it's a legal amendment. We need to talk to Bob Galvin, because I don't know if the advisory board can make an amendment.
No, we're
I'm
not
not
gonna
saying
make it.
we're gonna
but
make
somebody is gonna make one during the town meeting. You know
Right,
it
and
is.
you'll have to.
And we have to,
determine it.
we have to
That's
say
true.
yes or no, we agree to it.
Or we just shrug and say, we don't have a.
Not the
an-
latter, we
amendments
don't
happen.
have.
We don't have to.
We should,
Outside
we
of us.
should.
I agree. I think
Maybe
we
we
can
don't
do the
have
homework to do
but
that.
we should. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
They want to hear from us, what do you guys recommend? And we should be prepared for the answer.
I guess one of the things I struggle with is that you have departments that come in here that send their money to the general fund, but they do generate revenue. So, for example, the veterans, the rec group, they can't do some programs because they're constrained by a budget, and they could bring more revenue in if they had a larger budget. But in this situation, we're restricting revenue generators from generating revenue based off of cut across the board.
Same thing with, say, town clerk. If they had more people, they could be bringing in more dollars. If they had more census takers, they could get $2,700 per person for every additional person that they get in the census. So, you know, we shouldn't cut their budget. The same thing with veterans. Why did they cut 20% of their budget? And they're asking for more on this. I'm just going to make an example of the school, but the school's asking for X amount more, yet every other department has to get reduced by a significant amount. 20%'s a lot.
But that's the question the select board should be asking the town administrator. The town administrator is supposed to be managing that. It's not, we're not managing the town. The problem we have right now is we don't have a full-time town administrator.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge problem, right?
But we should be coming up and saying, hey, cutting their budget 20%'s wrong. We should say that.
We can say that.
And,
Definitely say
and
that.
we probably will. And we say, we recommend they need X amount more than what they're asking for, more, or, you know, potentially.
Yeah.
For that one line item. Maybe a town clerk, maybe a different answer. You know,
All right, do we have a
Library's a different
consensus
answer.
Ed, I'm with you. That's exactly where my mind is, that if we can, we can make those, that we think for whoever the department is, the advisory board feels the cuts are too severe, and we recommend this addition to the line
Absolutely.
item.
You can do that.
okay.
You can absolutely do that. Maybe I misunderstood that, but that's.
And
exactly- you
then
can
that
do
becomes something that goes in the right-hand column of my little spreadsheet, and at the end of the day, as best we can, we add it all up. Hopefully, we have everything filled in.
Yeah.
And we say, this is what seems reasonable to us. If,
And it's up to the town to decide if they want to
that's
take
right.
our recommendation
We're not
or
gonna, we're not gonna,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
we're
the town's still
only
gonna decide something different.
8 votes in town meeting.
I don't know if I'll do it differently, but I would hope they would listen to us and listen and consider that as part of their consideration.
Jan?
It strikes me as,
I just think,
maybe wrong is a strong word, but to cut the veterans' benefits when they only cost us 25 cents on the dollar anyway.
Right.
And she
More like,
said we
you know, right-
normally have 300 and now they're at 275.
Yeah, I mean, it's
No, 240 is what
240
they-
is where it's at.
what they're
now.
asking for.
Oh, I'm looking at a,
In order for her to
A
keep the
budget?
person, the second person, she had to find, what they did was say, I can't fire my assistant, so I'm gonna cut other places. And so one place she went to was the veterans'
benefits.
benefits,
Okay.
so.
I don't know if they can legally cut veteran benefits to keep a person. I don't think they can, I don't know. And again, we don't have legal counsel here, which is, it's tough when you get into
Well,
those
that's a good
things.
point.
I mean, you got envelopes, but then again, I mean, can you really operate without envelopes?
Well, then, I would say at least we add back that
I could be wrong. I'm just-
35,000. Or 34,000,
From where? From the,
what do you,
veterans' benefits.
To
They went from
270
275.
to go
just put it
back to
up
275, and then the person up in the veteran salaries, the 60,000 they want to achieve there.
Well, I don't have as strong an opinion about them cutting envelopes,
I don't
you
either,
know,
but,
that sort of thing.
but she says it'll cost $60,000 to get the person funded.
Right, but
Right.
part of the way she was getting there was by cut. So this last line has the 60,000 in for that person. She's not cutting the person in.
She just cut
last
other-
line. She's cutting everything else.
Other-
So I'm saying, why not at least,
So you're recommending that number and 275 down here would be your.
that would be a starting point.
Does everyone see that? So the veteran salaries would stay at 185 per their request, 185, 398.77. The veterans' expenses would stay at 3,400, I guess, and then the veterans' benefits would go to 275, would be our recommendation for these two line items.
Yeah, and the only other thing she asked for another 10 for the 34 to go to 13,400.
Yeah, she's asking for 10 for this, for
Yeah.
expenses. Because, right?
Yeah.
Because she's asking for that, because it's been cut from 10.7. I mean, their request is 12.7, and it's going down to 3,400. So they're basically saying that you're not gonna be able to do a lot of the things that they usually do. And things like that.
Got it?
So
Yeah.
you'd still be cutting,
I think we're making a mistake,
Why, Donnie?
let the town, if we start increasing this, then you might want to increase the DPW, so, other departments would be, let the taxpayer,
And
we aren't,
we're not gonna, we're not going to interrupt the process.
No,
of
yeah.
Asking for an override and
No, but
voting on an override. All we're trying to do is come up with what is a budget. We have what the town came up with for their budget.
Yeah.
We have it. It's 2.5% over the 2026. That requires severe cuts in a lot of areas. So which cuts are acceptable and which cuts aren't? That's what we're trying to get to, and how much would be reinstating some of those cuts cost? And that would be what we may be asked to suggest as an override.
and just because we recommend something, doesn't mean the town.
The town
would take
doesn't
away
have
the
to take-
town's
I know.
vote.
Yeah, we're not usurping anyone's authority. We're just trying to be an advisory board and advise.
Right.
And I think we're looking at, like, why is this department 20% compared to everyone else? I think
It
that's the main.
seems unfair, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. I think I know what I'm gonna add to the numbers here, and I'll present that tomorrow. All right, does anyone have any departments they would like to, that they have knowledge of? I have two, maybe three that I could talk to right now that I've consulted with, and they've given me the things that they want to add back if they, realizing they have to be a team player. I've heard that from a number of departments, that they're all team players, so that messaging has worked its way through our town departments. That's good. But if they had their druthers, if they had their desires, I have two numbers from two departments that they'd like to have reinstated in their budgets. So I'm ready to talk human resources, and I could talk one other one that I can't remember offhand now. So let me start with, the planning board. We talked to Karen Horn. So in terms of human resources, the cuts involved for the human resources department, they cut the hours, and the department manager decided this on her own, that she was going to work fewer hours. Her second human resource individual, there are two people that manage human resources for roughly 1,000 Marshfield Marshfield employees, and they were going to go from 37 hours to 32 and a half hours per week to meet the budget. If they were able to go back to the 37 hours per week, that would be their desire. So that's a straight 26,853 back to their budget if they could have that. So that's where Human Resources is at. In terms of the Planning Board, yes, Mr. Kelly?
Thank you, Chair Falacara. Is there an explanation in regards to the retraction of hours, but then going back up? Did they say why?
In order to meet the 32 and a half hours a week that they feel manage the department, but there would be sometimes people would not get their services, a question answered in a timely fashion. It might take longer because there's only one of them in the office on some days. The other one would be, taking time off because they're only getting 32 and a half hours. So they're only working 4 days a week, essentially, each one of them. So there would be days where there would be less people at the desk. There would be lunch times that there wouldn't be people there. Is it a big deal? Probably not. I don't know. I've never run a human resources department, but it's I don't want to say a wish. It's a desire to if they have to, if they could, they'd like to have their hours reinstated.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a two-person office, much like the Veterans Office too, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that is something that had to be considered and looked into. Yep.
And they noted, the department manager said, we're team players, we can work with the 32 and a half hours a week. But if you're offering, we'd like to have our hours back. That would be ideal for us, they felt.
Well, are they basically offering
Just,
on the override, or is based on?
just yes, in terms of if there was an override that funded their position, their budget, they'd be happy with that.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if there's no override, they would work 32 and a half hours. If there
That's
was an override, they would like their hours back.
That's correct.
I could see that
Yeah.
wholeheartedly, yeah.
All right, in terms of the planning board, so, again, and Peter, correct me if I get any of this wrong, because some of this comes from our conversations with Karen, but I did talk to her the other day, and she said it is going to be difficult for her to be alone as the only planner in the town. Typically, when Greg Guimond was there, or previously, there were two. She was the assistant planner, and Greg was the senior planner. Right now, she's the senior planner without an assistant. And what challenges that involves for her is, first of all, when she's entitled to take vacation, like we all like to, the planning department is not staffed. No one is there. So whatever service the planning department does for the town will not be there. The other thing it does is that she is not able then to start training her replacement. She's not looking to retire anytime soon, but she had a long time with Greg as his assistant, and when Greg Guimond retired, she was able to slide in there seamlessly. She doesn't have that if she loses the assistant planner. So to that end, if she were to be given additional money, she'd like the money to be assigned to the salary of an assistant planner, which she looked up in the where that person would fall in the Marshfield rate tables, and that would be $72,000 is how she got to that number.
Okay, so, but that's not in her department
No,
request?
right now, her department assignment in the no override budget has no money for an assistant planner. She will be doing the job on her own.
But also in her request, is that right?
You mean in her 2027 request?
Yeah. it was
Yeah, I
two-
believe it was in there.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, the 2027 request from the department was 239, and what she was given was 187,700.
Okay, I was looking at the wrong
373.
line, sorry. Okay, got it.
Yes, Select Board Member Kelly.
Thank you, Chair. On the town planner for the assistant, that salary number you gave, that was based on full-time, would I be correct?
Correct. Yeah.
I look at it, I mean, just depending on how everything shakes out, I mean, at least if there was maybe some more realignment in the town hall offices maybe, but maybe we could start out as a part-time, maybe not now, but
Yeah.
in the future, the part-time, then work their way up maybe, or something like that.
That might be an excellent compromise. Okay, I did get, and it was ad hoc, I don't believe the town clerk was assigned to me. Who has?
I had
Okay,
town
sure.
clerk, and the budget delta was, I think, 15,689 between their, what they requested and the B budget. B budget and C budget are the same. I did not get a chance to talk to her since the last meeting, but just looking at, the budget and what was there, what I saw personally was, likely overtime costs have caused that to be increased because we've had additional elections this year. We've had additional special town meetings and town meetings. That I don't know that we can cut that because they've already incurred or going to incur those costs. I honestly think they need more money. And I think was there a request for additional funds?
more dollars.
So
Yeah.
I don't think that we can look at it as 15,000 and it's gonna be more like, 70,
Because there's gonna be three more
Yeah.
special elections.
yeah.
I mean, and on the docket, one way, potentially.
Yeah.
So she's requested, it's 25,000 per election.
So where does that fall? Where do the additional, where's the additional money that you're recommending fall? Is that in the town clerk salaries?
There's town meeting elections, there's an
Yeah.
elections budget number, which is different.
Oh, I see.
Talk
I see
about
it
that as
below,
well,
yeah.
but
I blocked that out. I didn't think that would, I thought that was pretty much fixed.
well, if it's $25,000 a meeting, so every time we add 3 meetings, it increases, but, I went through her budget with her, and I didn't see where I didn't see whether they could really cut any people. Cutting people is actually gonna severely impact us in the town. They're the hub of the, of the town. When everything kind of comes through them, they're the,
So you're looking at the
I,
line item that's 1161, 1500? Town clerk salaries? That's,
I'm looking at the total right now, the 323,894.
I see it, yep.
Let me get back to, I'm on a different spreadsheet, that's why, sorry about that.
That's the 161 budget total line. And that's almost 60,000 above the fiscal year 2026 budget. They're actually getting an increase of $59,000, almost $60,000.
But what he's talking about is that she has requested, she copied me on an email that to Peter Moran, that she was requesting, she's going to need another $75,000 for unexpected elections, that aren't even in
Yeah.
these numbers.
Yeah.
So,
Do we foresee any, I mean, no one could have foreseen what's happened this year. Do we, at this
No.
point in time, do we see anything similar?
it's highly irregular.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't recall.
I mean, they could come to us for use of the reserve fund for that, couldn't they? I mean,
Or-
Which is only
I mean, if they
have.
$75,000.
Didn't she
Either our fund or the select
They-
board's fund, or, if
yeah.
either
I
select
don't
board.
think she realized that we had a fund and there's a select board fund as well.
Yeah.
For those type of things.
To me,
I'm
that-
hesitant to try and plan for, additional elections. I think that,
I think that's gonna have to come from, again, the TA.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that's what those unexpected funds are to be used for. The only thing, she emailed me the other day, and it was totally ad hoc. She talked about she needs her safe serviced, the town clerk safe seems to be broken, and I don't have a problem finding money for that. That was $6,000 to fix it.
Yeah, I don't think
Yes, sir, Mr. Kelly.
salaries, I don't think we should cut any salaries
Okay,
at all
so
in
the
that
13,952 that's coming out of that top line item, the 1,500 line item, you'd recommend that be put in there, put
Yes.
back in? All right, it's a good first cut. Yes, Selectman Kelly.
Thank you, Chair Faircolor. Can the 3 elections be explained that may be coming up?
She is saying that there's going to be a special election for the open select board seat, the special election for the override, and then the special election, frankly, for your own recall, is what she's saying.
I would say 2 of those could probably possibly be put on the primary date, couldn't they be?
I don't know. That's not, I'm just telling you what Norris has requested, Eric. I don't
The
know.
whole thing is that this is the thing is that I've been trying to do this year with the potential override was holding on the town election day. That got gas, and now we could be potentially paying extra for that and all that. So my thinking is that I think we should be looking into at least those 2 possible elections to be held on the primary date. That way, there will be no extra money to be spent, if that's the case.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just telling you what she requested.
No, I get that. Between my situation and the override, should be primary day, and that way
Okay,
we're not spending any more money than we have to.
that's a great point.
Who makes that decision, Mr. Kelly?
I would say the select board.
Okay. all right.
Okay.
I'm very comfortable with doing that personally. As a citizen,
I think
I
it
think
makes
that'd be a
sense.
great idea.
Yep.
Yeah, if you can save money, I mean, absolutely. I'm just, again, she put it in an email to the town administrator, so just, that's all I was sharing.
Okay, Ed, I have your, does, any further discussion on Ed's recommendation that for the town clerk, he would like, in the wish list column, 13,952, which is the cut for a salary? I assume that's a part-timer? I don't know what that is.
I thought that was, let me see if I have it on the spreadsheet. I don't have a definite answer, so I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, maybe why
Yeah,
don't we punt this one, and if you could do more
I
investigation
will,
on that.
yeah.
Yeah, great. Does anyone else have any that they're comfortable talking about tonight?
I can do IT if you want.
Yeah. Well, give me a line item.
I think it's,
I got it, I found it. It's the 155 line item.
It's all good.
I show pretty much salaries are the same, and, wow.
yeah, currently their salaries, they're down 1 person right now, our data analyst, which left, went to another town, but he's actively recruiting one right now. So right now, he is understaffed, but still supporting everything. That's kind of increasing his overtime right now a little, partly that, as well as they've been having someone come to the Zoom meetings for smaller groups to set up that, so that's causing some overtime. Their operational responsibilities, they usually respond to about 2,000 service requests annually from a variety of networks. They're servicing the police, fire, town, a bunch of different groups. Currently, they also got reorganized on some of the software packages that they're currently taking over. They took most of the Munis application over. I think that was like 379,000, and they shedded a bunch of other applications that went to other departments so they can manage that budget. So that's why you kind of see a positive number out there, because they were allocated more money because they were taking over Munis. think, I don't know if the finance group will have that or whether the group have that, but the IT is now taking that over.
So-
Allocated the cost for that particular.
So they were, in fiscal year 2026, they had an expense line item of $319,000. They requested $575,000, and we're given $549. Okay, all right.
230,000 is really
Is-
the Munis.
Okay, that's the Munis addition. Got it.
I think Munis was like
right.
79,000.
So
They're taking over
Do you,
that.
do you see they need more than that?
He said that what he's doing is he has a bunch of things he needs going forward. As for the town, he's putting a lot of stuff off. Yes, with the capital budgeting. Speak with their group about some service, which is that he can extend the life out right now for a couple more years, if that, but he'll have to come back to them. But he's doing the town a favor and saying, I can stretch stuff out right now.
Okay, so with the no override, he can keep body and soul
Yes.
together.
But in the next couple of years, he's gonna be
All
doing
right.
capital budgeting to replace a lot of stuff that theoretically he'd like to replace now, but can still extend the life of some of that
All right.
stuff, yes.
Does anyone have any questions for Scott? I'm hearing for now, for this year, fiscal year 2027, status quo with what's been requested on the no override.
Just the one hire, he's
Yep.
still, he's budgeted for that money, he just needs to.
Okay, so that's in the salary budget already. Got it. Very good.
What was that?
This is the line, the 155.
Oh, IT,
IT.
sorry. Yeah.
All right,
It was
I'm sold.
between-
Anyone else have any questions?
No.
So they're meeting a budget.
Yeah, correct. Anyone else with a line item that they've explored with the department managers that we could discuss tonight?
Yeah, I can jump in on the health department, Board of Public Health.
Board of Public, give me a line item.
Oof, 1 second, sorry. Just had it and I switched to my notes. 30 seconds.
$96.
Thank you.
90.
My thing froze up.
It's all right, it's all good. Starts with 96, 96, 97, 98. The total's 99. On your spreadsheet.
No, the budget line item. So the reserve fund is line item 132. That's how everything's coded.
Oh, you're talking about,
Yeah.
I was talking about line item in the spreadsheet. So it's 151, 0520. Like a 151,
151 budget.
yeah. 0500.
151 budget.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So a little bit askew, Mr. Chair, from what I'm showing here on the spreadsheet that we were recently provided from you. However, it doesn't really change the tenor of the conversation. And I believe I shared this memo out. But what they were operating with effectively on their, pull this up, on their budget was a $53,000 delta. It looks more to be 67,000 on the current spreadsheet. That being said, there's just some important considerations here, so,
All right, let me hold you up for a second. It's
Go ahead,
the
yes, I'm sorry.
510 line item. If you're-
510.
510 is the Board of Health. Okay, all right, keep going.
yeah, of course. Number one, just important to note, obviously, the Board of Public Health does a number of things. One that I think folks are not aware of is they track communicable diseases. So if there was one impending or one coming, they not only track if it reaches anyone in the town, but they do follow-up and mitigation there. They also do housing inspections, nuisance complaints, tobacco enforcement, swimming pool inspections at commercial or mixed-use places, beach water monitoring, death record registration, et cetera, et cetera. If we're looking to save that $53,000, effectively what they're going to do is let their director retire and become a part-time individual.
This is Gary Russell.
Gary Russell would effectively retire and come in super part-time. They would then move the individual behind him, whose name is Nick, up to a higher level. Nick would then be, and as it stands right now, just to be clear, Gary is not only the director, but he's operating as an inspector. Nick, assistant director, also doing inspections. So that's going to, by 40 plus hours a week, remove the ability for inspections, which is going to have impacts on Title V inspections if you're building, swimming pool inspections, health department inspections at restaurants, whether a restaurant needs to be shut down or advocated or assisted. And I will say they do a great job of educating and not just taking punitive action. It will impact public information. The other areas we talked about cutting were on some expenses. They don't really have a ton of expenses, and in fact, they have applied for and consistently receive a grant every year, which is shared with multiple surrounding towns, Marshfield, Hanover, Norwell, Rockland, and Pembroke. Thus far, they've received approximately $139,000 in grant funds, so I did want to note that the grant is good for the upcoming year. We don't know the future of the grant, but that could even add a $38,000 to $40 some odd thousand additional expense for the department. Some of the things they've used the grant for are outsourced inspections through a third-party company, where we're paying them per inspection, but we're not paying salaries and, all the benefits that go with that. That's so we can get to things faster without blowing up the staffing levels. Also used it for some licensing software, digitization of records, copy machine expenses, tobacco sting operations, which, by the way, generate revenue if you sting someone, and some of their training and credentials. So as it stands right now, to meet and to get anywhere near budget A, they would have to let someone retire and drastically impact the services that we could offer. The only other way they can get to it is by effectively laying off an administrative position, which would then,
There are two in there.
yeah, they would lay one off entirely if we were to go with budget A. They're at their delta, again, it's showing in our sheet as 67,000. I believe it's more around 53,000.
Well, so it shows in total, the number you quoted is right, but an increase in expenses to almost $18,000 increase, but then a dropping 69,000, almost $70,000 for total loss in this budget line item of 51,543.
Yep, and their request, if it were to be above and beyond A.
Right.
In total, and I don't have the proper categorization, but the total number request is 53,000, effectively, to keep services and staffing as is
Okay.
currently.
So 53K?
Yes, sir. And I'm summarizing greatly, but I did
Yeah.
share the
No, that-
memo
that-
across the board here.
So roughly, you're asking for $1,500 more dollars than
Budget A.
budget A. Right? No, budget, no, departmental request. Which,
Yeah, the difference between budget A and their departmental request, I believe, is
51,543.31.
Yep, and so, in other words, their departmental request is what they would need to maintain the department.
So overall, they're asked to reduce their budget by 13.6%.
And again, I want to be crystal clear, no feelings on the matter, don't know anybody in that department super personally. It's effectively a four-person department.
Yeah, it's a small
It's not,
department that does a lot. They
yeah,
do a lot.
it's not-
I do know them personally.
We
and
sat
I
for-
do know what they do.
Not only do they do everything that you
Yeah.
said, but they manage the Board of Health as well, where they.
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And there's an elected chairman there as well.
Right.
Right.
Yep, we're not making a judgment
Yep.
whether.
Just
you know,
explaining,
it's just,
explaining where we are.
If they had their wish, they'd like that.
And if they don't,
51,540.
what that means is a retirement with a conversation about going part-time and/or a full-time layoff. It absolutely cannot, the public health nurse that works in that department that is available to the town for those communicable diseases and other things, there's a lot of mental health services offered by that individual, coordinated by that individual. That person is severely part-time. I believe don't quote me on this, but I believe they're about 9 hours a week. There is absolutely no ability to change that also would be detrimental. The nurse's name is Nancy, she does great work.
Okay, any questions, concerns with,
I just want to make sure you noted, though, when and if this grant that they have actively pursued and achieved and utilized very well, kudos to them, dries up, we're looking at an additional potentially 40-some odd thousand in requests just to maintain, not to grow. Hopefully that, we keep that grant for another 2 years.
Or find another grant.
And
any
they are
others that, yeah.
I mean, you're actively
Yeah,
pursuing
Just to
it.
note,
Talking
that's a cliff note.
hypotheticals.
but-
Yeah, that's a
Cliff note,
hypothetical.
but just good to note.
53 is what I put in.
Yes, sir.
53K. Anything else, Peter, that you feel comfortable talking about?
We've covered building and zoning, you and I, in previous meetings, I believe, I don't believe.
I don't know a number that, he pretty much wants to, his is a
Effectively a
no
wash.
cost. Yeah, it's a wash if he gets
It's a
everything
wash,
he
but
wants.
with efficiency and growth.
Right.
I think that's
Yeah, I
pretty
think,
well
I
covered.
think the town administrator and human resources understand what he's looking for, and they'll make their judgment, so.
I believe police is fairly well covered at this juncture.
I don't know, I don't have any,
We don't have a wish list number.
Okay, so we can circle back to that.
Yeah.
I'll ask that, I'll copy you on, I'll ask that question more pointedly of
Yeah.
Chief Tavares.
Great.
yeah.
We have a lot of information, but we don't have that,
Specific.
yeah.
But everyone kind of gets the flow of what I'm proposing we do. is
Love it.
I
Love
don't
it.
think,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any harm in doing what
It's
we're
unique,
doing.
it's very unique, and, you know, I really didn't, it didn't jive for me at first, but I understand where your head's at. I kind of like it. Like, I think at least you'll be able to tell people this is what they really are asking for, not because they are gonna get that, it's because they truly believe this is what they need.
Right.
Right. And that gives people a chance to decide what they want to do.
And I think it's the due diligence we need to do as the board that
I agree.
we've been chartered to do.
I totally agree with that.
All right, if no one has anything else, we don't have
I have
to.
one more.
Oh, good, yeah. Way to go,
Go
Scott.
first one.
You're the man.
An easy one like the school?
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk to Dr. Sullivan tomorrow, but, you know, the school is gonna be a difficult, but he's put the best presentation I've ever seen the school committee put together, the school department put together on this kind of thing. It's really very comprehensive, and he puts pros and cons on each slide. It's worth reading if you haven't read it. It really is. So, anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if Jan wanted to go first, though.
Well, I don't have a wish list number quite yet, but just a quick summary on the library, another small department that does a lot with a few people. Their budget cut is 10%-ish, which is a lot for that size department. And the main drivers, or the things that it will all be services to the town that would have to be cut, whether it's salaries or expenses, because it's all the same thing. The plan to meet the A budget is reduce some hours of
so
being open.
No pink slip type of, just
No pink
reduction in
slips.
hours.
They have a
Similar
lot
to
of
HR.
part-time people anyway, and then also just the materials that are available for distribution, both print and online. You know, they have to pay for new books every year and pay for access to various subscriptions. And that's, their plan is to you know, I don't know if it's drastic, but a very significant cut to the numbers of those purchases that they can make. So I'll get with them soon, very soon, and come up with a wish-for number.
Great.
Yeah, because they have to be a member of the OCL, the Old Colony Library, right?
Yep.
So, and it's shared
that's a
across
big-
all
that's
that,
one
so
of the
it's a
big
huge part of
expenses.
content online.
Yep, yep. And then the other thing they're worried about is the state has to certify them, and the state requires certain year-over-year expense increases, which clearly a big decrease doesn't meet that, and then minimum numbers of purchases and stuff. And the state what the state provides, their online resource, world is very expansive. So there's some risk that also would go away, and then we couldn't do the cross-library services. Oh gosh, I forget the whole list now. But there are a lot of very draconian things that would happen if they don't get that certification. So that would be really bad.
So is there any reason they don't feel, based on what we're talking about here with the no override budget, that they'd lose that certification? Is that?
Well, they hope that they can get a, at least temporary waiver. But the big question is that if they do make these cuts now, they'll eventually have to get it back to where they were and then some, in order to, unless the state is going to be nice. Maybe all the towns are, having a similar situation, and the state would change its mind. I don't know. All those are unknowns, but.
And it's just
yeah.
me, I'm not speaking for anyone, but
Yeah.
it would seem that whatever they feel was necessary financially to not have that be a concern is a fair addition to
Yeah.
the.
Well, it would have to go up, but at least stay constant would, be a big help, I would think.
Okay, so more to follow on that.
Yeah,
All right.
with the number, yeah.
I'm going to do the recreation department.
Rec
That's
department.
line 163.
163.
And the recreation department is a positive number. It's not actually get cut. And actually, at town meeting, we approved their expending limit to $320,000. It's a two-person department, and then they do have summer staff to support increased summer programs. They do a lot of the scheduling and also permitting the town athletic recreation facilities, which would include ball fields, soccer fields, turf, grass fields, tennis, pickleball courts, the skating rink, and basketball courts throughout the community. They have tier groups, which the town is in Group 1, which we don't charge anything for, which is the athletic fields for the high school. Group 2 would be our local sports, which they collect fees for grass fees, turf fees, and custodial fees, and as well as Group 3, which would be an outside club, say a soccer club coming in and playing on Rockwood or the turf. They pay a lot higher fee for custodial as well as use of the grass fields. Like the veterans, they have all their revenue goes to a general fund, so they don't keep any of it, so it goes through there. As far as, they're happy that they can keep their budget, and they're, ecstatic about
So
getting.
status quo.
Status quo.
Yeah, that's kind of why I blocked
It-
that one out. I said that looks.
And they would like, with the increase to 320,000, they had a lot of expenditure limit. They had a lot of programs that they want to kind of push through to increase the revenues that we get. I did talk to them, there's certain situations they would like to have like a smaller bus to transport, say like they do a ski program down the Blue Hills. Instead of taking a big bus, they'd like to use some of the vans or something, get their own van. So I guess at some point, maybe they can work with, the different groups that have the
Seems like a
vans and
luxury
stuff
to
like
me.
that, and see how,
Yeah.
luxury to have, but I kind of told that to them as well, so.
They do a great job. Has anyone not seen the Easter egg hunt?
Oh, yeah, I've
I'll be
been there.
quick.
It's excellent.
It is. They do a hell of a job. The high school students put about a bazillion eggs on Coast Guard Hill all the way to the top.
that's great.
And watching that number of eggs disappear in literally a minute, maybe a minute and a half, with all the kids just rushing up there grabbing as many as they can. And someone has to take those eggs and stuff candy in each one of them, and
And someone is the Easter Bunny, too. I might add.
my kids,
Yeah.
they have an Easter bunny. It is,
Real thing.
that's just one event they do. But having witnessed that, it's like, it amazes me.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so I'm leaving that status quo. Good, thank you. Anyone else?
I talked to, just real quick, I just give you a quick stat. I talked to Chief LaSalva today. There's, ever since his presentation to the select board, there's been some other noting that how they're gonna allocate if things go certain ways. So he wants to sit down again next week. I told him Paul's out of town, so we'll get a cup of coffee or whatever and
I was
run
going to
through
say,
that.
hit him up for a cup of coffee. He
Yeah,
buys.
yeah, I know,
good.
he's great
like
about
meeting
that.
with him.
Yeah, it's great. So I talked to him about that, and also I did talk to Carol Hamilton at the COA, but, the Council on Aging.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did talk about impacts, but not specifically. The only one thing was that there was one person that was like a certain amount. I want to get that tightened up before I give it to you. So, but it will impact some social service stuff for seniors, much like the veterans. It would impact social services for the seniors, and it would also impact some nutrition and programming there. So I want to get specifics onto exactly what those things would cost, so that we could decide what we would recommend.
Okay.
But other than that,
All right, I got two things. First of all, I want to run down the list and make sure we all know who's got what on this, on my spreadsheet. But I got to ask Donnie, because he's without Paul right now, and my recollection is you have the biggest chunk of this. Do you need any help while Paul's on vacation?
No, we're gonna meet with the DPW Monday afternoon at 2:30.
Okay?
Yeah.
And that's like maybe 5 line items in the budget is DPW.
We'll have at our first meeting next week.
Okay. All right, well, we should get that set up too, because this posting of meetings is more work than I thought it was.
I told you.
Yeah.
I wish that we come up, I mean, I put this out before, but I wish we could come up with a more centralized way to do it, because
I
a lot of
understand the
moving
process now,
parts.
but, yeah.
No,
So, let's run down the list, and then we'll figure out how many times we're meeting next week and what day or days. So, I'm on line, the 121 budget all the way at the top, moderator,
yeah, that's me.
that's you.
Selectmen or me.
Roland, got it? And those, I don't know if those are gonna change.
Right, but I just want to have, I know what the moderator is just basically,
Right.
you could just go ahead and put that, it's the increase in AV for the town meeting.
Okay,
That's really all it is. That's why it's an increase, $24,000.
got it. Okay, finance committee,
I think that through,
I mean, it's only $300, so we
Yeah.
don't need is that you? Or is
yeah,
it-
well, I
okay.
would assume so. So I think I go down through treasurer collector.
Okay. So accountant, reserve fund, yada, 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 all the way to treasurer collector. Awesome. Legal.
I don't,
Chris is on the list.
Yeah, it says Chris.
oh, it does?
Um,
Okay, I mean, I'll take it.
Okay.
I thought I didn't realize that. I'll take it.
I think I'm light, but if you want to shed any of yours, let me
No,
know.
I don't really have that much either.
All right, I have human
So-
resources. Scott has IT. Town clerk is,
Me,
yep, Dubois.
and elections.
Dubois, if my French holds up. Elections, that's you two.
Yes.
Ed?
Yep.
Conservation,
Who had that originally?
I don't know, it might be me.
I don't have that thing in front of me.
I have the list that we wrote up. a while ago.
Hold on, I got it. Come on. Thought I did.
it's you, Ben.
Yeah, all right, yep, thank you, I thought so.
Scott.
What's going on?
And foul Carol. Scott, I'll make a call tomorrow if that's all right with you. I'll share the information via email if something magical comes up. All right, planning board is Peter and myself.
Yes, sir.
And zoning board of appeals.
that's also you.
That's me and you?
Yeah. And it's effectively lumped into building at this point.
Yeah, that's right. Facilities, management, who's got Fred's budget?
I believe that was Paul, but let me double check these.
Yeah, I believe it is. Yes, that's why he was questioning all those facilities line items.
Yeah, it was Paul.
Christopher, are you with him on that, Donnie?
What's that?
Facilities, Fred Russell's budget?
No.
Okay. I'll just put Paul down for that.
Yeah.
Utilities, the utilities, we don't have a choice, don't worry about it. Police,
Peter and Jan. And we'll have that drilled down answer for you, Mr. Chair, in the next 24 hours.
okay, and Martin. Very good. Fire and,
It's me and Paul.
so Christopher and Roland.
Yep.
Building department is me and Peter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, weights and measures,
That's me, but
yeah, I'm not worried about it. Animal control is police department, that's you, Jan? No?
I thought I had that,
Yeah.
but
All right,
it's
okay.
under police department.
Well,
I haven't spoken to anybody yet.
Okay, I'll put you down if you.
Yeah, I can do it.
Can you handle it?
Yep.
That's, I think your contacts, actually, I don't know who your contact is.
Clam flats, I have no idea what that's all about.
it's
People that have them, that's the problem.
it's basically under the harbor master. It's
Okay, so
where
who's
peop-
got harbor master?
people can clam.
I used to do them, but I don't know if somebody else.
It's under the. I mean, he's typically under the police.
It's technically
but-
we
under the
have Donnie,
Who did I?
the list that we put together.
That's
Yeah,
the Bible.
If this is the
Yep.
Bible and it's Donnie.
I had Donnie. Yeah.
Don, Harbor Master.
Do I have to, I'll do the harbor master then?
Yeah.
I'm gonna recommend you take clam flats too, for whatever that's worth, but,
If they're under him.
Yeah.
yeah.
And just, can I ask a silly question?
Sure.
Mr. Chair, I apologize. Are those are not categorized entirely under police's budget? They're broken out?
Yeah.
Or
I
are
don't,
they-
I don't know why,
Yes.
but that has how they do it.
Separate
Yes, sir.
budget line
That
items.
makes sense.
Clam flats is, I don't want to get into the weeds because it's just, but it's basically where people can legally clam and then and Mike decides whether they're open or closed is all it is. And there's a revenue, I mean, you have to get a license to clam. I mean, I think, where,
You do.
yeah, but it's a public thing. I mean, but sometimes they close the flats, they open the flats. It's his decision.
It's easy.
Huh?
It's just, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that's straightforward.
yeah, it is.
Do you have?
But I don't know why it has its own
a copy of
budget.
that? And you don't have to waste time doing it?
Yeah, you sent it around.
Did I? No, wait.
Oh, you did.
Okay, I'll look at my
I think
email.
it was you, but yeah, you can just take this.
All right, let me take this one. All right, I'm going to default to the list that we made up a
Yeah.
while ago.
Okay.
We don't have to go through this. All right, next meeting. Or how many meetings next week? We got 2 this week. How many do we think we're going to need to get through this? Because at some point, the following week, I think the advisory board and the select board have to get together, right? I haven't heard when that's going to be.
I haven't either. And I didn't,
Nothing publicly posted at the moment.
yeah, that should come from the select board.
So I'll take an action item to call Greg or text Greg and see what he's thinking. So what's your druthers for next week?
Just trying to get in my calendar.
Senior member chooses, Donnie? You want to know?
You're the chairman.
I personally think we need to meet twice.
Okay.
Sorry if that ruins everyone's evening for the week. But I'd prefer Tuesday, Thursday if we could. But I have no specific.
Works for me.
Yeah?
All right, I'm gonna post Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
And the agenda, it'll be the same. We're just gonna go through the departments, and so, as you continue to chip away, just bring them up, and, the desire is to come up with some addition if they feel they took an unsavory cut of how much it would cost to return some service or services that they feel are absolutely essential that they can't do under the no override budget. That's really, I don't think that's an unfair request to make of department managers. They know their budget. The Veterans Committee, the chair came in, and they were ready. They
Yeah.
were ready to rock. That's, I'm sure the rest of the departments are
So you
pretty
said,
savvy about.
sorry, next Wednesday and Thursday?
I was going to say Tuesday, Thursday.
Tuesday, Thursday, yes, sir.
I may not be able to do Thursday, but I will,
Would Wednesday be better?
no, so
All right, Tuesday, you're good with.
Tuesday's totally fine.
Can you zoom in if we are?
I will try.
Okay, all right, because if we're challenged with quorum, Zoom counts. If
Yep.
you're attending via Zoom, it counts as quorum.
I might have a conflict on Thursday, too.
So is Tuesday, Wednesday better?
Wednesday, I have a conflict for sure.
That was-
So, I mean, that's just up to
Tuesday.
me. I mean, it's just a crazy time.
No, we're not doing weekends. All right, I'm going to put down
Monday,
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Go Tuesday, Thursday, and we'll figure it out.
Tuesday, Thursday.
That makes sense.
But are we going to come up with another number, just like, call it vital services, we feel ought to be included in our total recommendation? So if we thought 10,000 for the veterans and so many thousand, so we'll come up with, we think this might be, should be our recommendation for the minimum budget.
Yes, but let me just add to it. Let's say that number that we come up with comes out to be $3.7 million, which would be, I think, it won't. I don't suspect it will, not when people are talking the numbers they're talking. But if it did, then I would feel comfortable putting it as my voice on this committee, saying, we're okay with the $4 million override. We think that, if the town wants to go for an override, that's a reasonable number. We've done our homework, and that we're close on that. Right now, that $4 million override was just pulled right out of the air, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't like that. That bothers me. I understand the 5.6. I get that, and I understand the no override. I don't understand the 4 million. So that in-between number, I'd like us to try and zone in on a little better. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're doing our due diligence.
If we're known for nothing else, I want to be known for that. Maybe they don't like what we come up with, but I want to do homework. Yeah. All right, I have nothing else for the group. Does anyone else? We have no
public
no public comment. No one here, at least, unless someone online wants to offer a comment. We understand raise hands on Zoom meetings. If you raise your hand, we'll recognize you and unmute you. Seeing none, I'm going to close that out. I move to motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Second. Are you
All in
good?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. We're adjourned. Thank you.